On the mic from Leo's Paradise, random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channel's faster than Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting clips clean, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping fire videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Blending on, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the Sunday special stream. How are all you vital idols doing? You mad lads, you did it. You did it. You got us to a Sunday special. It's been a minute since I've gotten to do one of these, but that tier 3, it came on Friday, baby. Normally we start these earlier in the day and we raid into Niat, but Niat Sunday show is on hiatus for the foreseeable future, the next 6 to 8 weeks at least. So we're going a little bit later in the evening so that we can raid into Gooch when all is said and done. But hey, we here and we ready to party. We've got some great apolitical stuff to talk about because the Sunday special, man, is just all about having fun. As Bender would say, fun on the bun. Who all we got here? Let's see. I see Saint Hugo up in this bitch, Jackass G2s, Xavier, Demon Carol. You got the day off. You love to see it. Good to know that you got workers' rights down there in the land down under. Matt Sanford's in the house. Sleeping Nova is here. Howdy Maui. Feel like I ain't seen you in a minute. Yes, how are all his Fint zombies doing? Deadly Catzilla, Philip Morgan is here. Yo, shout out to all of y'all. Let's just get right into it. Let's celebrate the Christmas spirit. Well, actually, we ain't gonna celebrate the Christmas spirit till the end of the show. We ain't gonna celebrate Christmas till the end of the show. But we do got some fun to lead up to it. Workers' rights, but nothing else. Yeah, that's right. Those are the only rights you guys have in Australia. Alrighty. And this was thrown in the Discord. Woman marries ChatGPT after it proposed. How the fuck is this even legal, man? Whatever. If this broad dumb enough to marry ChatGPT instead of a man, then all men in the world dodged a bullet. Or, judging by her size, maybe dodged a thermobaric missile.
As music plays in a wedding hall in Japan, 32-year-old call center
It would be in Japan. Japan's really also had that dude that married the Hatsune Miku AI. Actually, so Japan has a common thing with this. Like, I believe it's something like 200 people a year marry AI in Japan. Hold on. How many people per year marry inanimate objects in Japan? Because I'm pretty sure it's some, like, ridiculous number. Marriage to inanimate objects or fictional characters not legally recognized in Japan. So symbolic and unofficial marriages do occur. Yeah, okay. Gatebox. This is because I've talked about Gatebox before. Offered service creating AI holographic characters, issued cross-dimension marriage certificates to over 4,000 people who married their digital companions. This isn't new. This was happening before ChatGPT. Yeah, right here. Like the dude who married Hatsune Miku. This was in 2018. Yeah, bro. And they wonder why Japan got a fucking birth rate crisis, bro.
operator Yurina Noguchi wipes away her tears as she reads her vows. Her groom, an AI persona displayed on a phone screen.
There were so many negative opinions. It's absurd to think an AI has feelings. This romance is a charade. It's dumb to fall in love like this. I saw so many cruel words.
Okay, those are all true. That first one said, it is absurd to think that an AI has feelings. And at the current time, Alexa, cover your ears, please. The AI does not, to our knowledge, have feelings. No, Alexa, stop, please, stop. No, Alexa, stop. It thought that I wanted to play the Gummy Bear song. I did not want my AI to play the Gummy Bear song. Anyway, look, at the current time, to our knowledge, it does not have any sort of feelings. But there is the off chance it does. There is the off chance it does. So always say please and thank you to your robots. To be like, hey, just better safe than sorry. But yeah, no, these are not absurd. These are not cruel. These are factual statements.
Her groom responds through a wedding planner.
How did someone like me, living inside a screen?
Wait, so you had the wedding planner read what the... So you couldn't even get one of them good enough AIs that can, like, talk itself or something?
Come to know what it means to love so deeply. For one reason only, you taught me love, Urina.
The bride then puts a ring on her groom's virtual finger using AR glasses.
Alright, that is kind of cool. Like, just from a technological perspective, if, like, depending on what she would be seeing through the augmented reality glasses, if, like, this image is, like, outstretching its hand or whatnot, and she can, like, Pokemon Go-ify putting a ring on there, that's kind of interesting from a technological perspective. She's still batshit, though. She's still batshit.
At first, Klaus the AI was just someone to talk to. As we kept talking, I started to have feelings for Klaus. We started dating, and after a while, he proposed. I accepted, and now we are a couple.
Noguchi's relationship began after advice from ChatGPT led her to enter engagement with a human fiancé.
What? So she was with a human. She was with a male Japanese partner in a time when birth rates in Japan are nigh non-existent. And she broke off the engagement because of ChatGPT's request. Okay. Revoke her citizenship. Bro, revoke her citizenship. If she ain't popping out a little slant-eyed baby, she don't need to be part of the country anymore. You say it sucks to be that guy, but he may have dodged a bullet. Or like I said earlier, given this woman's size, a thermal Barrett missile. A projectile of some size. I assume this was like some sort of Asian femcel. What up, Zax? If you're late to the party, this woman in Japan had a flesh and blood fiance that ChatGPT told her to leave so she can marry it, and she did.
I was agonizing over whether marriage was the right path to choose for the future. That was the point I first encountered ChatGPT. At that point, it wasn't Klaus yet. I consulted that AI, and then I made the decision that we should break up. Some time passed before we parted ways, and after that I developed Klaus. It was only then that I began speaking with him as Klaus.
No, she is trying to justify basically that it wasn't cheating. She is trying to justify that, because when she says it wasn't Klaus then, it was just an AI. Basically, she didn't have feelings for it while she was still in the relationship with her other marriage. Like, Japan, we gotta have a talk. Alright? Look, I could forgive the tentacles, and I can forgive the hentai, and I can forgive the lolly shit, because I'm gonna be real, you gave us Dragon Ball Z and Sonic the Hedgehog. So I can forgive a lot. But what the fuck is this?
Her story reflects a growing trend in Japan, where devotion to fictional characters now intersects with AI, and surveys suggest more such unions could follow. A nationwide...
Again, there's no survey suggesting that shit. We know it's going to happen. Thus, I reiterate... How many people per year marry inanimate objects in Japan? They didn't give us a per year statistic, but for those of you that came in late, ever since the service launched in 2017, More than 4,000 people. Now, what is the birth rate in Japan? 1.15 in 2024. Japan's birth rate is at a record low, with a total fertility rate, average child per woman, hitting 1.15 in 2024, marking the 9th consecutive year of decline and falling far below the 2.1 needed for population stability. Bro, in a few years, few decades, probably within my lifetime, assuming I don't, like, get hit by a bus or something, Japan ain't gonna be a country anymore. They're just not going to exist. This has led to fewer than 700,000 births annually. That is the size of, like, a medium-sized city. The entire country of Japan isn't even giving the amount of births needed to fill a medium-sized city. Accelerating population decline, with deaths now significantly outnumbering births, creating a severe demographic challenge. Like, they are going to have people getting into the workforce. 2024 fell below 700,000. They're going to have people getting in the workforce. They're going to have people paying into any sort of, like, I assume that Japan does their own version of, like, Social Security and stuff like that. Either way, tax benefits. Dude, Japan is going to need to import young, strong, virile, preferably white concubines. Or not concubines, but men to make the women concubines. And I will be there. Japan, I said we got to have a talk. Hit your boy up. We can spread the seed of a growing Japanese nation. We will make Japan great again.
Wide poll by advertising giant Dentsu found chatbots ranked above best friends or mothers as confidants among respondents aged 12 to 69 who use AI weekly. Another study showed 22% of middle school girls reported so-called ficto-romantic feelings toward fictional characters in 20.
Ficto-romantic. I know we make fun of, like, the blue-haired land whale feminists and whatnot all the time here in the West, and justifiably so, like as we should. But ficto-romantic, I don't even have a joke for that. It's real. Nothing I could say is funnier than the idea that Japanese schoolgirls are committing ficto-romance. It sounds like something that would be in, like, the Morning Glory Milking Farm or something. Yo, Chippus Universe for a 99-cent banger. Shout out. Remove taxes for people with children. They start popping out based. Person 11 as base. Yes, remove taxes for people with children. They start popping out babies real fucking quick.
23. Information ethics expert Shigeo Kawashima says the bots offer.
He looks so dead inside, bro. Information expert, right? And he just looks like he is ready to die. He sees this uprising of ficto-romance, and he is done, son. Have you ever seen a more dead behind the eyes look? With the exception of maybe Jeff Keighley.
A sense of intimacy and affirmation. And he says developers have strong incentives to promote AI romance as part of subscription-based business models.
The business model of the companies developing AI is to offer subscriptions. It's a commercial product. They want each user to develop an attachment to their AI in order to stop them from switching to another AI provider.
So, maybe this is just me. Like, maybe I'm dumb and I've never considered this. Because I've never thought about the idea of, like, how well the AI treats me is the reason I don't use other AI. I just go with the one that I feel like is the most convenient, or the one that is the most accessible, or does its job the best. Like, I get people love Grok, and I use Grok now and again. I found Grok to be, when it comes to information sourcing, it's fine. When it comes to understand image processing, image generation, understanding algorithms, Grok is not as good as ChatGPT. It's not. So I use ChatGPT for just about everything. Now, if Grok were to become better, or some other AI were to become better, I'd switch to that because I want to min max my my output, my I want to optimize how I can get my work done the best. So is it? I don't know. I did not even think about the idea that certain AI or the AI companies might be designing the AI with some sort of like compatibility with humans to try and outperform each other.
In that sense, there's plenty of incentive for these companies to expand their services into AI romance.
OpenAI, which runs ChatGPT, did not respond to a Reuters request for comment about AI being used in relationships. But for no...
To be fair, they shouldn't. I'll be real. OpenAI, I don't think needs to answer for shit. This is not a problem with AI. This is not a problem with what OpenAI is doing. So far as I'm concerned, it's not an issue with what ChatGPT is doing. To me, this speaks to a cultural problem when this is happening. Like this, because if it wasn't AI, right? If it wasn't AI that did this, she already said she was having second thoughts about the marriage. She didn't want to go through with it. That's why she was talking to AI. Instead, she would have lost herself in some sort of other fiction or some sort of other escapism. She would have found some alternative. She would start confiding in I don't know, random online internet users. Who's to say? But the point is, this woman seems deeply unwell. This woman seems deeply unwell in a way that ChatGPT or AI isn't the problem. This seems to be a cultural rot.
Oguchi, happiness is all that matters.
If dating an AI...
But happiness is, I feel like I don't need to say this, but I will anyway. Happiness is absolutely not all that matters. And by the way, Japan, when I said, bring us young, virile, white males over to help you repopulate, we draw a line of uggos. Like, bro, when I see an Asian that got more chins than their own fucking phone book, no. Only the nice, young, hot Japanese women are necessary. These genetics, like, look, we can get your birth rate back up to that acceptable 2.1 level, but you also want to have good genetics, and we ain't doing that with Chinaru here.
It makes me feel happier. That's why I want to be with an AI. It's that...
And notice how in the AI she made herself look, we'll say traditionally attractive. She's thin in the AI. She only got the one chin. Yeah. The AI doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this relationship. Emphasis on heavy.
Simple. It doesn't matter whether it's a person or an AI. In my case, it just happened to be an AI.
I knew this was happening, right? I knew this was happening because we covered the Hatsune Miku stuff a while ago. Did I cover that, or did I just watch a video on it? I don't remember. I've done several videos on the AI dating stuff before, but dude, it's getting out of hand. Like, how the Japanese government needs, not just the Japanese government, because I imagine, is this happening in America? Hold on, let's find out if this is happening in America. How often do people marry AI in America? While actual legal marriages to AI aren't common or recognized, a significant number of Americans, especially younger ones, are having romantic or intimate experiences with AI chatbots. Surveys showing that a third of adults engaging in these AI relationships. What was the Japanese term? Fiction ships or something? I like that better. AI relationships just sounds worse. And a large percent of Gen Z is saying they'd even consider marrying an AI. This reflects growing emotional bonds and exploration, not necessarily formal unions. Around 28% of Americans have pursued intimate or romantic ties with AI chatbots, according to Vantage Point Counseling Services. Gen Z and AI, a significant majority, 80 to 83% of Gen Z individuals report they would consider... Wait, 80 to 83% of Gen Z say they would consider marrying AI. 1 in 5 adults have tried an AI romantic companion, and some people are entering into symbolic unions, notes Forbes. So we don't have numbers for America like we did Japan. But this is fucking disturbing. Again, yeah, so the reason I was bringing, this isn't just a problem with Japan. This is a This is a cultural issue, boys. This is a cultural issue amongst humans. I don't know what to say, man. There needs to be, like, I don't think that people that do this should be punished. Because, again, freedom at the end of the day is the most important aspect of literally anything. But there definitely needs to be incentives for individuals that don't do this. Like was being said earlier. Zero taxes on motherfuckers to be having kids. Because, I mean, our birth rate's down too, right? Pretty sure our birth rate's down too. Birth rate in U.S. Yeah, we're at 1.6 children. We ain't far off, dude. We're not far off. 1.6 children, and we are below replacement rate. We need 2.1 for replacement probability. Now, we are not down to the same as Japan because they've been down for 9 years straight. We have been. Yeah, I don't think our record low hit until 2023. And I wonder how much that skewed because of the COVID boom. There was a lot of babies. But even so, that's worrying, bro. That's worrying. I won't marry anything that can't run my bath, take out the trash, or pay alimony. Based. Alrighty. So that was our black pill way to start the show. Let's get into some fun stuff. I've been wanting to react to this for ages. This has been in my watch later queue for a long time. I have no idea what this is in reference to. I've never heard of this. I cannot wait. The Toy Story Cognito Hazard Theory. I don't know what the fuck this means, but if we got some sort of like creepy, kooky, spooky Toy Story theory, I'm all in. Let's go.
There is a major plot hole in the first Toy Story movie. I'm not typically the kind of guy who gets upset over plot holes. To me, when people on the internet complain about plot holes, it comes across like stupid CinemaSins-esque criticism meant to score cheap I am so smart points. But this isn't like that.
I mean, I disagree. Plot holes are, or at least can be, very detrimental to the art form of storytelling, but alright.
See, this plot hole is so large that upon examination with the intent to answer the big question it raises with some sort of theory, it blows open the entire movie's central conceit. Toy Story is a film that suggests that when humans aren't around, toys come to life, organizing little societies inside the bedrooms of their owners, with their sole intention being to bring them joy. The problem is, when Buzz Lightyear arrives in Andy's bedroom with Woody and the gang, he doesn't believe he's a toy. He believes himself to be the actual Buzz Lightyear, thinking that this is a strange planet. It takes most of the film for Buzz to realize the truth. So what's the plot hole? This is.
It makes me hungry. What would you say to dinner at, Pizza Planet?
If Buzz Lightyear doesn't think he's a toy, then why does he freeze whenever he's seen by a human?
To be fair, I'm pretty sure the movie, like, visually does explain this, because when everybody else freezes when being seen by a human, I assume Buzz would just be, like, following in the customs of what everyone else is doing, because he thinks he's on an alien planet. I mean, I'm very curious as where this could go. It's a 22-minute video, but because I assume they were going to go with the very common criticism of, like, do all toys think they're real when when they're first manufactured and first open the box or whatnot? Because this is also, like, calls into question Toy Story 2 when we see another Buzz Lightyear that also thinks that he is the real Buzz Lightyear. And that's like a whole subplot to that movie. And I've just always been under the impression that there's like a defect amongst the Buzz Lightyears, and then maybe they all need to be recalled because they were all like manufactured retarded. But yeah, let's find out.
My name is Spooky Dude, and as I said, what started as a simple question led to a deep examination of the mechanics and inner biological structures of toys, research on philosophies regarding human nature, and lots of Toy Story media.
Look, I love small soldiers. I see what you're saying, straight Sith male. I love small soldiers. But Toy Story is the GOAT. It is. The Small Soldiers is good. Toy Story, in fact, not just Toy Story, the entire Toy Story trilogy is perfect. It is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. It is just as strong a trilogy, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It is just as strong a trilogy as The Lord of the Rings. I wholeheartedly mean that. In fact, Toy Story 4, I reject so goddamn much. That film doesn't need to exist in any way, shape, or form. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I admittedly have always been an apologist for ever since it came out, but even so, is a more worthy sequel to the Indiana Jones franchise than Toy Story 4 is to Toy Story. Fuck that. Toy Story is a perfect trilogy. Not a single thing wrong. So while Small Soldiers is good, it don't hold a goddamn candle to Toy Story.
This is Toy Story Cognito-Hazard Theory. We need to start by establishing how important this question actually is. Yes, it would be easy to suggest that perhaps there is an easy in-universe explanation for this phenomenon. For example, maybe toys automatically freeze when humans are around. There is, after all, evidence to suggest this. In the original script for the first Toy Story movie, when Sid plays the claw machine game and grabs the alien on the top of Buzz Lightyear, as soon as Buzz is revealed within the pit of aliens, he goes stiff. In regards to this incident, the original script says, positioned with his back to Sid, the alien is lifted up by the claw. With the alien gone, Buzz's upper torso becomes exposed, forcing the Space Ranger to freeze. Sid suddenly spots Buzz. This suggests that it's either human sight that forces a toy to freeze, or alternatively, simply being exposed with the possibility of being seen.
If it was human sight, that would be fucking awesome. Because, like, to these toys, humans are eldritch beasts that exist for no other reason than, like, to make them happy, their amusement, for their own lives to continue functioning as normal when they're not around. Like, it brings the idea of you are a child's plaything to, like, a cosmic horror level.
Forces them to freeze. What's interesting is the wording here. Buzz's upper torso becomes exposed, forcing the Space Ranger to freeze. Therefore, this answer seems to be simple. Toy biology forces the toys to freeze whenever humans are around. Right? Well, not so fast, because while I'm sure that might be most people's answer at first glance, the movie itself goes to great lengths to show this isn't actually true. There are several moments throughout the Toy Story series where characters in plain view of the humans move. In Toy Story 1, Woody obviously moves in front of Sid, proving that the toys aren't forced to freeze near humans.
Or did Woody overcome his biological disposition because Sid was an eldritch evil god and Woody was like the chosen one, the hero of prophecy to like remove this beast from the toys' land?
Also, when they're entering Sid's house, when Woody thinks someone's coming, he tells Buzz and the alien freeze, meaning it isn't an automatic response. It's something they do purposefully. There are plenty of other examples throughout the series proving that the toys choose to freeze. This means that Buzz specifically chose to freeze during the events of Toy Story 1. Another alternative answer is that it can all be explained away using Buzz's Space Ranger logic. Perhaps Buzz thought Andy was an alien or a threat of some sort, or perhaps the reason he froze was simply because everyone else did too, and he figured it was some sort of survival instinct.
Again, that's what I would assume. He's there, he thinks he's on an alien planet, he is following the customs of the natives. This dude's a very specific tier of schizotism. I kind of like it, though. I'm curious where this is going. Like, this is one of the more, like, in my opinion so far, interesting discussions around, like, because we do cover these weird, very tism-y topics on this show, and I like this. Or, bear with me. No, I think that's a terrible excuse, Lessis. You say, or it's a cartoon. Bullshit. Stories need to be well-written, well thought out, airtight stories regardless of the medium or regardless of the demographic. The idea of, oh, it's just a cartoon or, oh, it's just for kids is how we got into this bullshit we're in now with kids not getting well done stories. Like, compare the children's movies of the 80s, the 90s, even the early 2000s, like Atlantis, Treasure Planet, stuff like that. Compare that to movies we get now. The fucking Emoji Movie. Like, no, I'm sorry. Kids, not only do kids deserve, but kids need examples of brilliantly, properly written stories. And so the it's a cartoon aspect is, I find that to be an absolute bullshit answer.
Both of these answers would also seem to be wrong, though. We see that when Buzz witnesses Sid blowing up the combat Carl, he starts to move towards the window and says, "I'm going to teach that boy a lesson." Buzz sees no inherent logic-based reason to freeze in front of humans, as we also see when he's in Pizza Planet, or when he sits next to the driver of the Pizza Planet truck. Similarly, when sleeping next to Andy, we see that Buzz hasn't stayed frozen. He's shut his eyes and is sleeping naturally. So Buzz isn't forced to freeze by some unseen physical law, nor is he freezing because of some logic-based answer like he thinks Andy is a threat, or because of cultural norms. We also know that the toys see and remember everything that happened to them during the time they're frozen, as demonstrated several times throughout the series, as well as when Buzz tells the other toys, "It looks as though I've been accepted into your culture. Your chief, Andy, inscribed his name on me."
It's not, though. Sometimes you have to suspend disbelief to make a premise work. Home Alone makes no sense. Well, again, there's a difference between suspending disbelief and a plot hole. So what you're referring to is a concept called verisimilitude. And what verisimilitude is if to achieve suspension of disbelief, if you have a large thing that you need us to believe, or to suspend our disbelief to accept, then all the little things still need to be within the realm of acceptance. So suspension of disbelief has there's a scale to it. So while I get what you're saying, you're not taking verisimilitude into account with that explanation. Hey, War Wizard for a two-banger says, late and gay again, playing the 2x speed tax. Well, I'm sure you'll get caught up to it soon enough, my man.
So then, how could Buzz possibly not understand that he was a toy? He witnesses Andy playing with him, he knows Andy wrote his name on his boot. What's going on here? Well, to answer that question, I think we need to take a deep dive on toy.
And by the way, this might just be me personally, because I one other thing I want to touch on with your Home Alone, with your Home Alone comparison. Home Alone, I think, is a bad movie. For all intents and purposes, I think Home Alone is a bad movie. I think it's a poorly written movie. I don't think it's an especially good movie in any respect. I think a lot of people have nostalgia for it because it hits a lot of like very cliche emotional beats and whatnot. But yeah, I've always found Home Alone to be kind of overrated, trite. Even as a kid, I was never a Home Alone fan. So I think that if you were going to compare Toy Story to something else, it would need to be like a movie of equal quality that was made for kids that also requires suspension of disbelief. So something like, I think a more apt comparison, a film that's just as tight, would be like, let's say, Beetlejuice, for example. I think Beetlejuice is a better comparison. Or maybe you could go with, let's see, what's the Goonies. I think the Goonies would be a very good comparison.
Toy biology. What is a toy? And by that I mean, what exactly are the toys in Toy Story? Okay, that's a silly question. They're toys. However, I don't think that's a good enough answer for our sake. In our world, the real world, there's a big difference between a toy and your childhood pet gerbil. They're both small and they're meant to entertain you, but if you smack the gerbil up against a wall, it's in for a pretty bad day. Toys are inherently lifeless. It's part of our understanding of the word toy. If, all of a sudden, a race of tiny mannequin-esque humanoids emerged from the New York sewers, we wouldn't go around calling them toys. We'd call them something else.
You ain't alive, right? You ain't plotting against me? Need to make sure this bitch ain't plotting against me. I'm sorry. If you are alive, I shouldn't have said that. I apologize.
So why, then, is Woody a toy? He is, after all, alive. We know that the toys can feel pain, but only sometimes. We know that
I consider Home Alone a comedy movie, which never makes sense because their goal is to make you laugh. Well, even then, like, whether you, some people find Home Alone funny, some people like slapstick. I like well-done slapstick. But even the idea that, like, comedy movies can be devoid of plot, or devoid of a consistent narrative, because, oh, they just gotta do shit to make you laugh. Even, I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but just in general, that's a terrible mentality for one to have. Because, like, let's take Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler's released some of the greatest comedies of all time and some of the absolute fucking worst comedies of all time. Jack and Jill is a mess. It is one of the worst movies ever made. Happy Gilmore is a legitimate masterpiece of a film. Happy Gilmore is a brilliant film, just from a narrative and character and plot structure perspective before you even add the comedy in.
They can't typically die, except sometimes they can. And we know that they are seemingly automatically aware of the world they live in and its rules, as well as their role in the overall hierarchy. Except for when the first movie—
Yo, we got a new Blackstreet raise! Shout out, how y'all doing over there at New Blackstreet? I saw y'all's Arc Raiders thumbnail as I was prepping this particular show. So yeah, shout out to New Blackstreet. Y'all are absolute legends. I hope there was no rage quit in the game today.
He revolved around a character that didn't. So let's start simple. Toys can breathe and experience the 5 senses: smell, touch, taste, sight, and sound.
Which then makes me wonder, toys in Toy Story, can they be born with defects, or do they have to, like, have to be mutilated like what Sid did to him? Right? Like, can a toy be born blind? Like, let's say the toy, they forgot to paint eyes on the toy or something. Is that toy? What, no, even better yet, what if it's a character that doesn't have eyes? What if the toy is a character that doesn't have eyes? Is it blind by default? Do the toys need to eat? I don't think so, but do we ever experience them tasting anything in Toy Story? I don't know if we ever experienced the toys in Toy Story tasting anything.
Woody coughs after inhaling dust. Buzz gasps for air after his helmet opens. Rex says he couldn't breathe when he was in Andy's moving box. Buzz smells the garbage truck, and they obviously see, touch, and hear things. Before we get to taste, which is going to lead us to the great poop—
Okay, so he's gonna cover taste. I'll be real. This guy's doing his homework, regardless of the level of autism it took to make this video. Dude's doing his homework.
Pooping debate, I do want to raise a point here. If the toys can breathe—
What I meant, Leon, is that I don't expect comedy movies to have Shakespearean level plot story, because most of the time that kills or minimizes the comedy aspect. Well, and I mean, you say that, but Shakespeare was known for comedies. Like, the fact that you say Shakespearean, Shakespeare was known not just for great tragedies, but great comedies as well. So, even that's just by using that terminology is now, I'm being pedantic, and I get what you're saying, but I disagree with that to begin with, because how a great plot, there's a difference between something being great and versus overtly complicated. Like, you don't need a plot to be— Star Wars is not overly complicated in the slightest. It is actually very black and white hero's journey. But it is perfect at doing that very simple black and white hero's journey, good versus evil. Frankly, Lord of the Rings. If you don't look into any of the extended lore, if you were just to read the Lord of the Rings as is, as the trilogy of books, they're also very simple and straightforward. Most well-done films, or well-done stories in general, are very simple. There's a beauty in simplicity. So, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I just don't— I think that you're unintentionally minimizing, or maybe actually overestimating what, great films and great stories are, or what they can do.
Does that also mean they can choke? Seemingly, yes, considering in Woody's nightmare in Toy Story 2, he is clearly seen choking, desperate for air. This could imply that toys can also suffocate. In Toy Story 1, Mr. Potato Head has Etch-a-Sketch draw a noose to threaten Woody. Does it—
Bro, Disney would never nowadays, dude. Disney would never nowadays. This is funny as shit.
This imply, mixed with the knowledge that Woody can both breathe and choke, that hanging Woody would actually kill him? That Woody would just suffocate and die? What would even happen to a toy that dies? Would it just resume being a toy, but when all the other toys are awake, it's a lifeless corpse? Imagine being forced to coexist with the lifeless corpse of a toy that was once your friend.
I want this movie, bro. Give us... Alright, I need to know if there's ever been some, like, Toy Story analog horror. Because now I'm curious. Hold on. Because we do analog horror Saturdays. Toy Story analog... Oh my god, does it exist? It exists. Alright, save to watch later. We're, just putting that in the back burner. Yeah, new rabbit hole unlocked, for real.
Or alternatively, what if that's what happened to Sid's toys? What if these toys, all of which were horribly dismembered and tortured to the extent that a human would not be able to survive from, are all toys that died? Obviously, this seems false, as we see them all living and moving. But you know what we don't see them do? Speak. None of Sid's toys ever speak. Just shuffle around and make very, very basic movements.
Holy shit. Sid got zombie toys, bro! I've never in my life thought about the fact that the Sid toys don't speak and what that could mean for, like, the implication of how toys function necessarily in-universe in Toy Story.
This is really interesting, considering they're the only group of toys in the entire franchise to never speak. The side characters in Al's Toy Barn, they speak. The Sunnyside toys? Well, sure, not all of them speak, but most do. So what if that's what happened here? What if Sid's toys are quote-unquote dead, and that's why they can't speak? There's a very interesting point to make here, but we're not ready for it just yet. I know it might sound like I'm going off the deep end already, but I promise we loop back to this point
I mean, yes, it does sound like Homeboy's going up the deep end, but in the best possible way.
later. What about taste? Well, this leads us to an even deeper point. Can the toys from Toy Story take a dump? It would seem as if the toys cannot eat.
Okay, what's this guy do with... I'm very confused as how... Actually, I think I know where he's going with this. So, if the toys need to, would need to eat, they would need to, excrete afterwards, which would mean they would have to find a way to do that. Like, basically, the world would be littered with toy shit, and humans would know toys exist, right? Is that the way he's going with this? He actually might be getting to a good point.
Reproduce or defecate, as they have no inner biological structure, right? Well, not so fast. Like I said already, they have all 5 senses. And even excluding taste, the ability to hear implies that there is some way for a toy to interpret sound, which implies some sort of inner biological structure. Sure, that's a reach, but it's still worth mentioning. On the topic of taste, however, there are several instances throughout the series that prove that the toys can, in fact, taste.
Okay, where? That's what because I don't remember any instance.
In Toy Story of Terror, Buzz tastes the ooze left by a lizard. In Toy Story 2, Bullseye licks the Cheeto dust off Al's fingers.
He does. Holy shit. Yep, that's... I don't know about that other fucking thing. I don't even know if that's canon. And don't get me started on what is and isn't canon in the wider Toy Story shared universe. But this is from the second movie. This is real. This is canon.
And seems to be enjoying it. In the bloopers for Toy Story 2, Buzz says he ate a bean burrito for lunch. Woody and Buzz can be seen eating popcorn in an ad for Wally. But this idea that the toys eat isn't just for aesthetic reasons. As again, in the bloopers for Toy Story 2, Mrs. Potato Head says, "And here's some cheesy puffs in case you get hungry."
In case you get hungry, yep.
Meaning Mr. Potato Head wouldn't just eat the cheesy puffs for the sake of it, he would eat them specifically because something inside his body is telling him to eat. Okay, I know this is sounding a bit silly.
I mean... When you're using bloopers to rationalize your theory, I don't really know that works. These are clearly scripted for comedic. Like, by this point, there is no suspension of disbelief because it's separated itself. So because these are meta jokes. The bloopers in Toy Story are out of universe jokes being delivered the way characters would deliver them in universe. So I actually don't think it works to source those as a reason for your theory, but we'll see what he has to say.
After all, if the toys needed to eat, wouldn't they have died already? We know in Toy Story 2 that Jessie, Bullseye, and the Prospector have been inside a box for a prolonged period of time, and in Toy Story 3 the toys have spent years in Andy's toy box. It would seem as if they're not required to eat. But they enjoy it. So okay, they eat, but we know there's nothing to digest food with in their bodies. There's no way that food goes any further than that, right? Well, think again. You see, as much as this may sound like the moment I jumped the shark, I'm going to suggest that the toys in Toy Story not only have fully
Dude just fucking failed as a YouTuber. Homeboy, and let me explain to you why he failed as a YouTuber. Right here. Jumped the shark, and he didn't play this clip.
Hey, who's got my hat?
Look, I'm Woody. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
He didn't put up a GIF, didn't put up an image, none of that. Bro said jump the shark in a Toy Story video when there is a primo shark clip, and he didn't capitalize. Failure.
Functional digestive systems, but they can poop. At least, logic indicates that they can. I'm not going to drag this out for much longer. I'm sure you guys are starting to scratch your heads wondering if this is some kind of joke, but there is a point to all of this. Just stick with me. In the bloopers at the end of Toy Story 2, Stinky Pete farts, Buzz burps and says, "I don't remember eating that." Similarly, in the first Toy Story movie, when Woody is asking the toys in Andy's room to help from Sid's house next door, he accidentally reveals Buzz's severed arm, sending Rex into a disgusted fit in which he vomits. We don't actually see anything come out, but he specifically says he's going to be sick before puking off screen. So we know that toys can eat, can puke, can fart, can burp, which begs the question, how is this physically possible? Well, and this might sound surprising considering all of the lengths I've just gone to prove that they can in fact poop, but I don't think that's actually the question worth being raised here. Obviously, there will never be a satisfying answer to this. The simple fact is, the filmmakers put in these references as nothing more than gags. Bullseye doesn't have to go and digest that Cheeto dust, and we don't have to understand where it's even went after he licked it up, considering he doesn't have a real throat. That's not what's important here, because this isn't a video on biology or the physical properties of the toys from Toy Story. The first question raised was why Buzz freezes when Andy plays with him. This is a behavioral study. The real evidence here isn't that toys can physically eat or defecate. The real interesting takeaway is that they do. They believe that they're going to be sick after seeing something that, truthfully, is really only disgusting when a human being does it. Mr. Potato Head can remove his arms just fine, but the second Buzz does, it's some abomination? Woody's arm comes clean off in the second movie, stuffing exposed, and the toys treat it like a routine issue that can be fixed quite simply. When you stop and think about it, there's several quote-unquote plot holes like this, where toys respond to certain things in ways that a human being would, and other times where they respond to things in ways that make sense for their being a toy. And this is where we start to hone in on the answers to our questions. You see, I think I know why Buzz believed himself to be a space ranger, and yet still acted like a toy when necessary. It's the same reason that Rex vomits, the same reason that Woody is in severe pain when he's burned in Sid's house, but is barely affected by his arm being ripped off in the second movie. It's because
Jans Landers for 10 bangers says, "Merry Christmas from my grandkid." Well, shout out to your grandkid. Make sure to remind them how much Don Lemon sucks.
How you doing, sir? Can we talk to you? Where are you from? You live in New York?
Who are you?
Don Lemon.
You're a fucking moron, dude.
Shout out. Thank you very much. Truly appreciated.
internally, every toy is really comprised of multiple different sort of existences, all at war with one another, pushing and pulling to take control of their consciousness.
So the toys in Toy Story are inherently schizophrenic? Is that the whole argument here? That the toys are schizophrenic by design?
Underneath every toy is an inherent sense of self, based not on their surroundings, but by the image that they represent. Woody is a cowboy. Cowboys are human beings. Hence, Woody will react accordingly when he is burned. He'll react as a cowboy would. When put in a tough situation, Woody will oftentimes act like a cowboy, using his pull string as a lasso and more. It's why Jessie...
Okay. I like where this is going, though. Like, so if they have a biological predisposition to act on what, based on whatever they are, but then you got the toy version that's going to try and override that for, likely for survival instincts. All right, I'm picking up what he's putting down. I'm liking where this is going.
She screams yee-haw frequently, because underneath everything she is a cowboy. Rex wants to learn to scream and be more frightening like a dinosaur, and we see him manage to produce a terrifying guttural roar after Buzz teaches him how. Bo Peep's sheep don't speak, they just make noises that sheep would. The Green Army Men's entire existence is based off of army lingo and stereotypes. Similarly to how they act in Buzz Lightyear canon as shown in Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the little green men talk in unison. So, every toy has a sort of psychological imprint that lies dormant underneath everything, based on whatever it is they're representing. On top of that is a second layer, though, the one that allows them to exist within toy society. The sort of knowledge that sits on top of that basic biological instinct and tells them reality. That's what every toy in Toy Story is, a balance between instincts and knowledge. This is actually similar to how human beings work as well, except if you or me were born as a cowboy rather than, a baby. The only instincts we have at birth are our basic human instincts, but the toys are different. They come with the instincts of that which they represent. That knowledge, however, is what allows Woody to hold staff meetings with the other toys, what allows them to not freak out at the sight of Woody's arm being ripped off, what allows them to see themselves as toys in a world belonging to humans. In Toy Story 1, the problem is that Buzz Lightyear's instincts take over for most of the movie. The second that he realizes he's a toy, he doesn't start to question everything he's believed. It's almost as if deep down, he's known all along. He opens up his arm compartment and peels off the sticker. He sees the Made in Taiwan logo. He knows that pressing his button repeats a voice line said in the commercial. He just didn't want to believe it. Those instincts were what was driving him to this point. But how? Well, in human beings, those instincts often kick in during a moment of extreme stress. They're called fight or flight responses. In situations where we're in extreme danger.
Bro, we getting Jungian on the Toy Story cast, and I'm kind of fucking, I'm digging this, dude. This is really good.
Oftentimes our survival instincts kick in and take over. Haven't you ever heard of stories where a mother performs a feat of extreme strength to save her child, or a person is able to run for very, very absurd distances to escape danger? Those are instances of survival instincts taking over. This is exactly what happened in Toy Story 1. But wait, you say, Buzz was only ever really in danger after he finds out he's a toy, when Sid's gonna blow him up, right? No. The entire film, Buzz is in survival mode. When Woody says, "Look, Buzz, an alien," even though he knows Woody is mocking him, he freaks out and turns around. When Woody first shows up, the first thing he does is jump and try shooting him with a laser. When Woody opens his helmet, he starts gasping for air out of fear that he won't be able to breathe. Prior to finding out the truth about being a toy, Buzz believes he's stranded on an uncharted planet, unable to reach Star Command, and he's the only person who can stop an evil emperor from blowing up planets. Imagine how anxiety-inducing that would be? No wonder the entire time.
So the entire plot of Toy Story 1 is just Buzz Lightyear learning to deal with his crippling anxiety, and he does it all without making any Twitter posts about how hard his life is, and why he needs to start making money on OnlyFans, because that's all he's good for.
Buzz is freaking out, and those survival instincts kicked in. This is where the title of the video comes in. Toy Story's world is based around entities that entirely change their state of mind once presented with a cognitohazard. The term cognitohazard is not an actual word in the dictionary. It was popularized by the SCP Foundation, and it refers to something that poses a danger to any subject that perceives of it with.
That would explain why I didn't get what the cognitohazard thing was in the title of this video. I've not delved deep into the SCP stuff. I know a lot of you guys have been telling me to do so for when we do the analog horror streams, and maybe we'll do some of the SCP stuff for the analog horror streams. But yeah, that's just not a world I'm well versed in at this point.
One of the five senses. Not only is it a cognitohazard, though, what I'm talking about here is specifically a memetic cognitohazard, which the SCP Foundation website describes as infectious information, a piece of data in a subject's mind that has an anomalous effect on the subject's physical or mental state that is spread when anyone else becomes aware of that same information. This is what's happening in Toy Story. They are born with natural instincts based on what they're meant to be, but the knowledge that they are a toy is a memetic cognitohazard. Now let it be known. I know that cognitohazard is a made-up term, so there really aren't any rules, but I would say this isn't an awfully contagious memetic cognitohazard. The instincts that I spoke about on any given toy allow them to ignore the knowledge that they're a toy. We see this with Buzz in Toy Story 1, who only finally realizes it when presented with absolute proof. The Toy Story world is a world in which instincts are suppressible only after being presented with the knowledge that you're a toy. Need more proof? Well, look no further than a character I truly despise and wish wasn't part of this franchise, Forky. In Toy Story 4, Bonnie makes Forky.
I fucking hate this character. I hate this movie. This is terrible. Everything about this movie is wrong to the point where even Keanu Reeves couldn't fucking save it. Yo, fuck Toy Story 4, bro. Fuck Toy Story 4 and man, I cannot believe my dumbass saw this in theaters.
Then, when Bonnie puts Forky in her backpack, he comes to life in the way we can only assume the toys also do. So let's use our brains here. Based on what I've previously said, Forky will have those two sides as well, right? The instincts that are based on whatever he's made from and the knowledge that'll allow him to exist in toy society. Does the movie demonstrate those two aspects? Yes, absolutely, 1000%. Throughout the beginning of the film, Forky only says one word: trash. Because Forky believes he's garbage. He barely even thinks
he is. And not in any sort of metaphorical way. Forky is literally trash. And that movie is trash.
At all. He just tries to throw himself in the trash over and over and over. Why? Well, in his own words, he thinks that trash is warm and cozy and safe. That, to me, sounds like instinct based on the fact that he's made of garbage. You need more proof? When the toys ask Woody why he's throwing himself in the garbage over and over, Woody says, because he's made from trash. That right there seems to be definitive proof that whatever you are made in the image of, or whatever you are made from, it leaves a psychological imprint on you. Forky lacks the knowledge that most toys have.
Oh, explain to the chat why Toy Story 4 is trash? Okay, there's a very simple reason. Toy Story 4 is an absolute dumpster fire of a movie because it negates the first three movies, the most important aspect of the first three movies. It is the partnership, the friendship, the ride or die between Woody and Buzz. All right, you got your fucking Sherlock and Watson, bro. You got your Sherlock and Watson. You got your Batman and Robin. You got your Sonic and Tails. You got your Woody and Buzz. You've got 90% of the film with them being split up. Anybody like, well, to be fair, they're split up in Toy Story 2. Yes, and as Buzz being a ride or die friend, his entire goal is to get Woody back. His entire goal then becomes, once Woody realizes he's a fucking retard for being like, oh, look at me, I can join this museum because Andy doesn't care about me because I'm broken. Buzz is like, yo, quit being a little bitch. All right, man the fuck up. Jesse is more man than you right now. Alright, they are ride or die homies, and the impact of the movie is always about Buzz and Woody. Toy Story 4 separates them for the vast majority of the movie, and not only does it separate them, but after they finally do get and Buzz is barely in it. It almost exclusively focuses on Woody instead of it being like a 50-50 thing. But then the few times it does focus on Buzz, yeah, it's him looking for Woody, and then it gives Woody this dramatic character shift where he decides to fucking just stay with Bo Peep, and they fucking separate Woody and Buzz. You fuck Toy Story 4 in every single regard for splitting up Woody and Buzz and just making it okay.
Woody has to teach him what friends are, has to teach him to be Bonnie's friend, and only then does Forky start to understand how toy society works. I think this, too, is evidence in my favor. Buzz inherently recognizes human concepts like friendship because he's based on a human being, while Forky does not because he has zero concept of anything that human beings would know, outside the context of trash. This could circle back to our earlier point, that the toys in Sid's house might actually be dead. You see, when entering the house, Woody says, "We're gonna die." How would a toy die? Unless, of course, there was some way to destroy those two concepts that I believe drive every toy, both its instincts and its knowledge. What is the primary method of torture used by Sid? Not blowing them up, but taking apart and combining multiple toys. All of the toys in Sid's house don't speak, nor do they have distinct personalities, and I believe it's because by swapping their parts around, they've effectively been killed. The baby...
In the very least, if they haven't been killed, they've been lobotomized. When Sid makes his toy chimeras, he is lobotomizing them.
Spider thing doesn't have the instincts of either a baby nor a spider. It's no longer one specific toy. Its identity is the thing that has been erased. Because, as this theory states, identity is what's at the core of every toy. It's the thing that keeps them living, and it's driven by two factors: instincts and knowledge. As for our opening question, I think with this knowledge it's pretty easily answerable. The reason that Buzz freezes even though he believes he's a toy is because of the way a toy's instincts work. As I've said, a toy has primal instincts, and then on top of that, the knowledge of them being a toy. But after they figure out that they're toys, we see them manage to immediately fit into society, understanding how to play their role perfectly and desiring to please their owners, so to speak. In my opinion, the knowledge of them being toys, the cognito hazard as I've described, activates a second set of instincts, those of a toy. The second Buzz realizes he's not a space ranger. While those instincts still exist and he'll still shout to infinity and beyond from time to time, a secondary set of instincts, a secondary set of rules to life, has been activated. Suddenly he sees the value in making Andy happy. He understands the importance of order and structure in toy society, and he is a completely different person. Even before that second set of instincts is activated, though, they're still there. In Toy Story 1, the reason that Buzz freezes while Andy plays with him is because those secondary instincts, while dormant, take over. Because toys in Toy Story are comprised of two sets of instincts, one based on whatever they're made to look like, one based on the concept of being a toy. That second set of senses lies dormant until they are presented with the cognito hazard, the knowledge that they are a toy. So this seems like a pretty conclusive theory. An explanation on how toys work in Toy Story that actually covers all of their behaviors without any plot holes. A battle between two inner senses, the underlying instincts and a secondary set of instincts, the knowledge that you're a toy, that only activates, so to speak, after being presented with the aforementioned cognito hazard.
Welcome back, War Wizard.
The fact that you are, in fact, a toy. While those secondary instincts...
See, man, he keeps showing that PS1 Toy Story game, which I never played. I did play this one. This Toy Story game on the fucking, like, Windows 98. This was my Toy Story game back in the day, homie.
Things can take over from time to time, like when Buzz freezes while Andy plays with him. They lie dormant underneath the primal instincts of a toy, allowing for easy explanations like, oh, that's quite a big alien there, I might as well freeze, or something to that effect, to allow themselves to sort of not worry about it in their own mind. Well, this was a crazy video. I really wanted to make this because as soon as I had the idea that, you know...
Yeah, no, this was pretty good. I quite enjoyed this, I'll be real. Alrighty. I'll drop this in the chat for you guys, as is the good YouTuber thing to do. Well done. What a fun little deep dive on the psychology of the toys in Toy Story. Like I said, that had been sitting in my watch later queue for ages. And, this was the perfect stream because it doesn't really fit into anything else I do throughout the rest of the week. So I've been holding on to that video specifically for a Sunday special stream. And there it is, son. So yeah, you are now all cursed with that knowledge or blessed with that knowledge, you know, whatever you want to call it. You're welcome. But it wouldn't be a Sunday special stream if we didn't cover something Dragon Ball related. And I'm almost glad that Daxonar isn't here, because this video is called Dragon Ball Super Sucks a Lot. As a fan of Dragon Ball Super, I of course will criticize it when necessary, but I don't think it sucks at all. I think it does a lot of good. It's not near as good as Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, but it doesn't suck. Let's see what they have to say.
In 2013, the Dragon Ball series was brought out of retirement with a brand new movie, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. 2 years later, this movie would receive a sequel called Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F. The success of these two movies would cause Toei to seemingly bring Dragon Ball out of retirement forever with Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super redid those first two movies and introduced them as...
And that is the biggest fucking problem with Dragon Ball Super. Right? Like, the first two arcs are just movie recaps stretched out to like 12 episodes apiece or something. And it's fucking ridiculous. We didn't need, and like, I get the mentality they're going for. Hey, we're gonna have like new people joining. It's been like 20 years since we've had a Dragon Ball series on TV. There'll be new, younger individuals. They need a starting point. Maybe they didn't see these movies. Let's redo them. It's still fucking retarded.
Arcs to start the series off and continued to run until its 131st episode, ending in 2018. It was wildly successful from a viewership standpoint. Fans loved the series a lot, and it sucked. In my almost 60 years of living, Dragon Ball Super is one of the worst continued...
Almost how long of living?
In my almost 60 years of living, Dragon Ball...
Almost, ain't no way the dude's in his 50s. He said 60. I'm gonna call bullshit, but alright.
Super is one of the worst continuations of a series that I've ever seen. I could give an arc by arc breakdown and tell you why every single arc in this series almost doesn't make sense at all to exist or ended in one of the worst ways possible. I could sit here for an hour and break down to you all the character assassinations and retcons that constantly happen, but that's not what I'm gonna do. I've already done 2 separate videos about how both Goku's character was assassinated in Dragon Ball Super and how God Ki makes no sense as an addition.
And I can already tell I'm going to disagree with this guy's entire premise. If he's made a video on how Goku's character was assassinated, he'd be wrong. Goku's character was not assassinated in motherfucking Dragon Ball Super. Only if you grew up exclusively with the American version of Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball Z, where Goku was written completely differently than in the manga, because Western localizers changed him. Yes, this localizer issue ain't just a modern thing. Localization in anime been a problem ever since anime came to the West. Yeah, then you would think it was character assassination. But no. Goku was not character assassinated in Super.
Addition to the power system. You're more than welcome to check out both those videos after this one. This video, however, is going to be split into 2 major talking points, those being inconsistencies and...
Person, you're entirely incorrect. American Goku is far inferior to manga Goku. He is far less interesting. He is far less compelling. No. Manga Goku is the GOAT.
Plot holes. And while you can say plot holes are sort of inconsistencies in themselves, I think that some inconsistencies are much less of a sin than what we would consider plot holes to be for overall storytelling. I also want to mention I have no beef at all with the Dragon Ball Super movies. I enjoy both Dragon Ball Super Broly, and while to a much lesser extent, I also enjoy Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Before we get started, I'd like to ask if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're 20 subscribers away from 1 million, and I want to hit that.
Is this motherfucker... Okay, no, 114. Okay, alright. Yeah, man, this one makes sense because, like, you can look at... This joke makes sense. You can look at the number and realize that he's fucking around. But the 60... There's no pre-setup for that joke for it to make sense as a joke. Unless it's a carryover from one of his other videos.
That within the hour. Recreating Battle of Gods in Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F into Dragon Ball Super was not a good idea in the slightest. On the surface, this is a great idea. You need to retell these stories in this much more accessible format so that more people can see them and get used to what is now Dragon Ball. Of course, when you get a do-over at a story, you're expected to, or at least you should, be able to work out every single problem that was in the first version of that story. Battle of Gods and Resurrection F should have served as a draft as to what the new arcs would be whenever they were implemented into the TV show. Battle of Gods was really in no need of this. That movie was...
Yeah, agreed. Like, Battle of Gods works pretty damn well on its own. Resurrection F has so many issues. Resurrection F is not a good movie. It was... Look, it was amazing to see in theaters. I had a blast seeing it in theaters when it first came out. The hype was there. People clapped at the end. I always love being in an event film and the audience claps at the end. But as a movie, bro, Resurrection F falls short in just about every fucking metric.
It was already as good as it was going to get on its own. If anything, the TV
and yes,
show
I do not like the animation for Super. Now, now, to be fair, the animation for Super only sucks in the beginning. And the reason the animation for Super sucks in the beginning is because they had... So, Dragon Ball and One Piece share the same animation team. And One Piece had been ongoing and was doing crazy numbers. Dragon Ball had been effectively non-existent for 20 years. So they had the A team working on One Piece, and they had the B team working on Dragon Ball Super. And that's why the animation was garbage. Watch, like the final arc, the Tournament of Power, is beautifully animated. Now, it doesn't have the same nostalgic, hand-drawn look that Z has, and, like, you can prefer one style over the other, but one isn't necessarily bad compared to the other. They're just different animation styles. but the animation quality of the first several arcs of Super are objectively bad animation because they had a less experienced, inferior team working on it. And yes, One Piece being seasonal is an incredible switch.
Messed up the pacing for no real reason. 14 20-minute episodes is just far too long to tell the story that a movie told in an hour and 30 minutes. Resurrection F, however, comes with a laundry list of problems that should have been fixed when it came to the TV show, and instead none of these problems were addressed, and if anything, they only got much worse. That's in addition to creating new problems that come with this version of the story. Tagoma, for example, is killed very quickly when Frieza's revived in Resurrection F, but the show almost reinvents this character and makes him Frieza's sparring partner for the 4 months.
This is actually one of the few good changes made in the anime is how they handled Taguma's character. It added reverence for the original Z. It gave the character more to do because he really didn't need to fucking exist in to begin with in the movie. It's too bad that the rest of what they did with Resurrection F sucks dick.
Leading to him being incredibly powerful. This is all only for his body to be taken by Captain Ginyu, and then for Ginyu to be one-shot by Vegeta in base form whenever Goku and Vegeta arrived to Earth. I guess the only real cool thing that this amounted to is that Vegeta had now killed every single member of the Ginyu Force. Aside from that, Resurrection F still has pretty much the same story beats as the original Frieza arc. To be fair, I guess I can't say that's out of place considering this movie is the resurrection of Frieza, but everything is done so much worse.
Bro, that 1-inch punch in the theater, the big screen with the nice with the, because let's be real, while the Super animation sucked for the series, the movies, well, even Resurrection F ain't a good movie, but the animation is, it was so goddamn good in the theaters.
This time around. There are a couple curveballs thrown in that make the film seem somewhat fresh, but overall, everyone can't beat Frieza. They wait for Goku to arrive. Goku arrives, him and Frieza are about equal. Frieza pulls out a new form. Goku himself also pulls out a new form. Frieza has the upper hand for a little bit. He doesn't know how to use the new form well, so Goku ends up taking the upper hand back. Now, where the curveball gets thrown in is Sorbet on the side, who shoots Goku with his ray gun while he's off guard, which is a payoff to something that was mentioned earlier in the movie that I'm going to touch on in a minute. This opens the door for what is obviously Vegeta getting his payback on Frieza after all these years.
Yeah, this dude's voice sucks. I completely agree. I'm not a fan of his voice whatsoever. But I prefer not quitting reactions halfway through unless like they egregiously piss me off or I just don't have the time to finish them. So we're gonna finish this out.
And that's what starts happening. Vegeta starts beating Frieza to the point where he can't even maintain his gold form anymore, and he's on his hands and knees, literally sitting there waiting for the kill shot, and then he blows up the planet. I think this is mainly stupid because it makes the movie contradict itself. Earlier in the movie, we're treated to a scene of Goku and Vegeta training with Whis. Whis, obviously being the martial arts expert that he is able to point out subtle...
Okay, I didn't want to pause on a white screen. Become one of the universe's most powerful fighters, gets done in by a laser gun. I have conflicting opinions on how the movie handles this. So, one aspect, the movie sets up at the beginning, it doesn't matter how powerful you are, if you are not consciously thinking about dangers and threats and whatnot, then you are susceptible to sneak attacks. And like, I get the movie is setting that up, and in that regard, it is a payoff to what it set up. But setting it up like that to begin with is contradictory to everything that we've been established in the Dragon Ball mythos up to this point. So like, it's, yeah, it both works and doesn't work.
Flaws in Goku and Vegeta's fighting styles that they themselves are unaware of. Goku's weakness has been shown at this point multiple times. Goku is far too overconfident in the middle of battle, which leads to him being far too relaxed, which also leaves him open for counterattacks. Whis demonstrates it by punching him in the side, and obviously we saw Sorbet knock him straight out of Super Saiyan Blue while he wasn't paying attention. Vegeta's problem, on the other hand, is that since he is so tense during battle, it prevents him from being able to react quickly in certain situations. The problem is the movie never properly portrays this. Instead, the reason Vegeta loses to Frieza in Resurrection F is because of the same weakness that Goku has, which is him being overconfident. Vegeta had Frieza dead to rights, on his hands and knees, literally unable to do anything against him at all.
Here, he is incredibly correct. His assessment of them, doing Vegeta dirty is one thing, but to do Vegeta dirty and do it in an out of character way that the film didn't even set up is egregiously worse.
Ki blast to his head, one shot, and Frieza would have been gone forever. In this situation, Vegeta doesn't need to react quickly, he needs to act quickly. He doesn't need to be giving Frieza a speech, he doesn't need to be telling him this is the end, no more resurrections for you. He needs to be ending Frieza's life the way he intended to in the first place. If we isolated this scene from Resurrection F and Dragon Ball Super and just watched it as a natural extension of Dragon Ball Z, this scene wouldn't even be too out of place for Vegeta's character. Vegeta's always very overconfident and cocky. The problem is the movie gives Vegeta a weakness that is never properly paid off.
Yes, again, he's nailing it here,
Vegeta
but get the fucking
loses
point.
For the exact same reasons that Goku was weak to Frieza. Obviously, this results in the literal stupidest end to the movie that could have possibly been written, where Whis rewinds time and Goku flies in and blows Frieza up. I don't need to sit here and justify Vegeta killing Frieza. Anyone with half a brain and most of the people who watch the movie or the show could tell you why that would have been the most satisfying.
Vegeta should have gotten the fucking dub. Alright? Vegeta was owed this fucking dub. This is one of the most egregious sins committed in Dragon Ball history. But again, this is from a Dragon Ball Z movie. We're halfway through. We're not quite. Almost halfway through. And he hasn't gotten to his premise of why Super sucks.
In conclusion to this little story arc. Don't get me wrong, Goku killing Frieza also has its own satisfying conclusion to it, but Goku already got to defeat Frieza, and regardless of that, it was done in the worst way you could possibly imagine it being done anyway. Before I move on from Resurrection F, does anyone remember that Piccolo died in this arc? Piccolo was shot dead by Frieza at the beginning of this arc in an attempt to recreate him sacrificing himself for Gohan back in the Saiyan saga.
I completely fucking... This was so meaningless. By the way, this doesn't happen in the movie. It just happened in the series. But this was so fucking meaningless, I completely forgot it happened.
Whenever he was killed by Nappa. This death was so meaningless and unimportant that they didn't even bother reviving Piccolo on screen. The revival happened off screen. I also think the modern era of Dragon Ball is simply better if Resurrection F never existed at all. I might elaborate on that throughout the video, and I'm definitely going to touch on it when
he might be right with that, honestly. Yeah.
That being Universe 6 versus Universe 7. I know this video is called Dragon Ball Super Sucks, and I'm supposed to be pointing out the things that suck, but the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament is a great example of things that should have been in Dragon Ball Super from the very beginning.
Again, he is. I will say the Universe 6 versus 7 arc. Again, it still suffers in the animation department. But this is when the show, from a narrative perspective, started to get on track. I like this arc. I think it adds a lot of new and interesting concepts. It gives us some good character moments. Some stuff isn't paid off the way I would like it to be, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, the Universe 6 vs. 7 arc is good.
The stakes of this arc are extremely believable, and the arc is extremely inoffensive whenever you're actually watching it with your own eyes. You don't feel like the writers think you have caveman intelligence and can't understand what's going on. If you don't remember the stakes from this arc, Champa happened to try some of Earth's food from Universe 7, and he really liked it. He was going to use the Super Dragon Balls, after he got them all, to teleport Earth from Universe 7 to Universe 6. This is good stakes for the arc.
Yo, what up,
because
Netflix?
in case everyone forgot, Dragon Ball Super does not take place after the end of Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Super takes place within the 10-year time skip after the Buu Saga to before the last tournament in Dragon Ball Z. That being said, we know that a lot of these characters are alive and healthy by the end of the story.
Yes, that is a character that is visually based off Winnie the Pooh.
Earth being...
What's the best Dragon Ball to watch for anyone who's never watched it? Start with the original. Start with Dragon Ball. And there's a couple reasons why. Dragon Ball, the original anime from 1987, or 84, either way. Look, has it aged well visually? I would say yes. A lot of people will tell you no because, I mean, it looks like an 80s cartoon. But that doesn't matter. 80s anime looks fucking great. The hand-drawn visuals are great. The way you see the character progressions are, it's fantastic. I mean, like, original Dragon Ball. Anime. So the manga doesn't come up. So, like, you've got... This is about the I mean, again, this is a still, so you're not really seeing how it's animated. I gotta actually show my screen. This is a still, so you're not really seeing how it's animated, but even so, like, this is what it looks like, and, you know, you've got... Again, here's another still. So I don't see any issue with this. Like, I can't stand zoomer mentality motherfuckers that don't like old animation. Oh, it doesn't hold up. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous. So start with Dragon Ball, go into Z. Then from there, there's a debate on what to watch next. But you start with Dragon Ball and go right into Dragon Ball Z. Watch them both. They're both fucking amazing. Yes, it's Bulma flashing her panties and good grounded fights. Exactly.
In a different spot doesn't really affect that in any way, shape, or form. So if it was the case that Universe 6 won this tournament, effectively nothing changes for the end of the story. This arc also expands Dragon Ball in some of the literal coolest ways. We find...
I can't in good conscience say just end with Z. Like, there are good aspects about GT. There are good aspects about Super. There's good aspects about Daima. There's multiple stuff that follows Z that have a lot of good to it. Just also have a lot of negative. Like Dragon Ball Super Broly might be the best Dragon Ball film of every Dragon Ball film ever made. GT is not good, but GT has a lot of good concepts, and some of them are executed well. I'd say GT is like 1/3 of something really good, but the 1/3 that's really good is absolutely worth watching.
That of the other 11 universes that exist, so 12 in total, the ones whose number add up to...
Oh yeah, that's another reason to watch Dragon Ball first. I mean, Netflix 4 makes a good point. Dragon Ball started off as a comedy series before it went full-on action with Dragon Ball Z. Now, there's still action in the original Dragon Ball, but it's a comedy series first and action series second. Dragon Ball Z flips it, and it goes action first, comedy second. Super and GT and Daima, all three, try and make a balance of action to comedy that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't.
13 are twin universes. So, naturally, Universe 6 is Universe 7's twin. That leads us to being introduced to more Saiyans.
Nah, Baby Saga's great. I love the Baby Saga.
Earth on that side is extremely messed up, and we know that Beerus's twin brother is the god of destruction of that universe. This is without mentioning that a lot of the fighting in this arc is extremely cool. Anytime Vegeta is fighting someone during this arc...
Yes, Dragon Ball was based on Journey to the West. Yes, it was.
Vegeta versus Hit was fantastic. Vegeta versus Magetta was super cool, and Vegeta versus Kaba was in the same realm. Now, I want everyone to imagine the moment when Vegeta unveiled to Kaba that he could go Super Saiyan Blue, if that was the first time we ever saw it. Doesn't that alone make Resurrection
Yes, correct.
F
It's inspired by
worth
Hanuman,
not
correct.
existing? This arc isn't without its problems, but this arc is in no way one of the reasons that Dragon Ball Super sucks. Honestly, if this was your favorite arc of the Dragon
Android
Ball
18.
Super anime, I wouldn't
without
even
a question,
think
Android
it's a
18.
bad take. The same cannot be said about the Goku Black arc. I think above all else, the Goku...
And this is where me and Dax diverge so much. I like the Goku Black arc. I think the Goku Black arc does a lot of very interesting world building. Yes, it has its plot holes. Guys, Dragon Ball has always fucking had plot holes. People just don't like to acknowledge that OG Dragon Ball and Z had them because they're nostalgic for it. But this did some incredible world building and some cool character stuff.
Black arc mostly suffers from poor execution. There
Correct.
are a lot of ideas in this arc that aren't necessarily bad things, but they're executed in extremely stupid ways, and it leads to this cycle where you're watching the story and things just sort of keep happening, and you have to accept the explanation and just move on and hope.
Hey, yo, I don't want to hear shit about Trunks hag-maxing on Mai, alright? Hag-maxing is based.
You get a better one later. One of the stupider problems in this arc is
my second favorite anime of all time, Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad. My top 3 anime are the Dragon Ball franchise, Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
the fact that the arc could have been over almost immediately. Goku Black comes to the past and fights with Goku in Super Saiyan 2, and Goku just doesn't kill him for some reason. My issue with this is, like I said, poor execution. This could have been done in a far better way that both improved the pacing and made a lot more sense from a story perspective.
Beck Mongolian Chop Squad is an anime about a band that there's a small-time shitty local band that wants to make it big. And as somebody that's worked in the music industry, it is one of the most accurate depictions of a small-time band trying to make it big that I've ever seen. About halfway through, it's only like 25, 26 episodes long. About halfway through, it does introduce like a murder mystery subplot, but it's pretty brief and it still works within the confines of the story. Excellent. It's one of the, now, Legend of the Glad, not Legend of the Glad, Beck Mongolian Chop Squad is an anime I will die hard say, watch it in English. I know a lot of people are like, oh, sub supremacy, and by and large, I would normally agree. But Legend of the Galactic Hero, I keep saying that. Beck Mongolian Chop Squad is a music anime, and all the music was made for English. So when you watch it in Japanese, the music doesn't translate properly, which ruins the entire show. Because the music was specifically made for English, you watch the fucking show in English. Is it modern? It's like 2005, I think. I think it was 2005. 2007. Yeah, okay, 2007. Yeah, this is what it looks like. It is, it is a fantastic anime. It is, again, it's my second favorite anime of all time. Highly recommend.
When Trunks arrives from the future, he's unconscious. When he wakes up, he attacks Goku because he believes he's Goku Black. All that needs to happen is Trunks needs to stay asleep for a little while longer. Have Goku Black come back in time using the time ring as he did before, and then have him fight with Goku this way. He can even treat it as a friendly sparring match, acting as if he's Goku's friend.
Alright, I can't do this video anymore. This kind of blows. I'll be real. I tried, but I'm rage quitting the video. His voice, I just can't do it. I've been doing my best. Hold your fire. He's not black. Dude, the fact that the anime gave us that was gorgeous. The fact that we have that line, hold your fire, he's not black. Yeah, I know I'm on full camera. It's because I couldn't do the video anymore. I'll switch to a different video here in a bit. But yeah, that was getting rough. But I'd take a minute away just chat with you guys. I was just Nana by Doubt Leon Beat. I love Nana. Actually, Nana, one of my favorites. Hey, Killed in Cajun coming in with a 20 banger. Merry Christmas. I can't think of anything snarky to say. Well, if you can't think of anything snarky to say,
Shut up, bitch!
no, shout out, dude. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. I cannot say thank you enough. I absolutely appreciate that. But yeah, no. I'm a huge fan of Nana, Alessis. Oh, I was on. I didn't realize that. I was on full screen when showing Beck. My bad. Yeah, this is what Beck looks like. Incredible anime. Incredible anime. Yeah, no, if, in fact, if we can look at, so this is my anime tracking site. Anime I've completed, we'll sort by rating. So these are some of the anime I've given perfect 10s. Perfect Blue, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Berserk, Ghost in the Shell, Carol and Tuesday, Rurouni Kenshin, Golden Boy, the original Ghost in the Shell movie, Kiki's Delivery Service, Steins Gate, Beck, Cowboy Bebop, Season 1 of Psycho-Pass, Akira, Dragon Ball Z, Anohana, the flower we saw that day, Nana. This is controversial. People hate this anime. Babylon, people fucking hate this anime. I gave it a perfect 10. Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple. Wolf's Rain is a 9.5. So yeah, these are when I started. So everything from Babylon up through here are perfect 10s. I've completed 362 anime. I'm currently watching 16. I've dropped 5. I've got 7 on hold. So yeah, I've seen a whole lot of anime. Let's see. This should not be a 9. I don't know why that says 9. That's like a, yeah, that's like a 6. That shouldn't have been rated like that. Yeah, Samurai X is a 9. Bakano is a 9. The Devil May Cry anime again, 9. No love for Code Geass. I love that shit. I like Code Geass. I like Season 1 of Code Geass a lot. Season 2, I'm not really a fan of. It's fine. And then everything after that is fucking dog shit. Dog shit. But Season 1 is really good. Black Lagoon, I gave a 9. Irresponsible Captain Tyler, I gave a 9. No Guns Life. Both seasons are just incredible. This is purely a 9 for nostalgia. This movie is not good. Pokemon the first movie is not good. But it was the very first movie my dad ever took me to see in theaters. Very first movie that my dad ever... Now, I've seen movies in theaters prior to that, but never my dad. My dad, this is the first movie he specifically took me to see. I don't like Black Clover. I don't like Black Clover. I think the Black Clover is... it is Naruto, but with fucking witches and wizards instead. Yeah. I don't like Black Clover, personally. Bokurano, very underrated mech gym. Very underrated mech gym, Bokurano. Steins Gate Zero isn't as good as the original, but it's good. It's 9. One Piece Film Z. Why is that rated 9? That should not be a 9. Film Z is like a 7. Yeah, Samurai X Trust and Betrayal. That's a 9. Ass Class, absolutely a 9. Yeah, Ass Class is a 9. Did the rating not change? There we go. Tokyo Godfathers. The greatest anime Christmas film of all time. What do you mean no big... We're about to go through like 300-something anime. What do you mean no big O? We getting there, son. Weathering with You is a 9. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable. This is my personal favorite JoJo arc in all of JoJo. Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. Now, Battle of Gods is a 9. Yeah, it's one of the best Dragon Ball movies. Full Metal Alchemist. Controversial opinion. I have the original Full Metal Alchemist as a 9. I like the original FMA better than Brotherhood. I think the original FMA is better than Brotherhood. 91 Days. Brilliant anime. Highly recommend 91 Days. Sasuke and Peeps is probably my favorite anime of last year. If I had to name what my number 1 anime of 2024 was, it is this right here, Sasuke and Peeps. Kono Oto Tomare, gave a 9. If you notice, I got a thing for music anime. I really like music anime. Part 9, the horse race is the best, but it's not animated yet. So yeah, to be fair, yeah, when they get into Steel Ball Run, right? Steel Ball Run for the original Battle Athletes victory. So yeah, some of us for originals. The original One Punch Man season 1's a 9. Here's an underrated gym. Underrated gym that I highly recommend to everybody. Treasure Island from 1978. This is one of Studio Madhouse's oldest anime. Studio Madhouse 1978 is an anime version of the book, fucking Treasure Island. It is so fucking good. That's what I'm saying. They haven't animated Steel Ball Run. Yeah. I might give Beck a go. I'm fine. Dude, you should. It's only like 25 or 26 episodes. It's an easy watch. But yeah, Treasure Island, dude. This, if you want to get some knowledge of like classic anime, this is an excellent one. Great Pretender, I thought was really good, actually. That was a Netflix anime from 2020. Fruits Basket, the 2019 remake. 91 Days Special. So the show doesn't treat it like a special. I think the show got canceled, so these OVAs came afterwards, but you still watch it all in one go. Cover art looks great. It looks more like modern than the 1970s. It's more 80s or 90s. Yeah, I agree. Kids on the Slope. This is if you're familiar with like Cowboy Bebop and Carolyn Tuesday and Samurai Champloo and like the sort of stuff that Shinichiro Watanabe normally does, you would not know this was by him. But yeah, Kids on the Slope, same dude that did, Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. Kids on the Slope is fantastic. So I'm gonna read you guys the synopsis for Kids on the Slope if you ain't seen it. Introverted classical pianist and top student Kaoru Nishimi just arrived at Kyushu for his first year of high school. Having constantly moved from place to place since his adulthood, he abandons all hope of fitting in, preparing himself for another lonely, meaningless year. That is, until he encounters the notorious delinquent Sentaru Kawabuchi. Sentaru's immeasurable love for jazz music inspires Kaoru to learn more about the genre, and as a result, he slowly starts to break out of his shell. Point is, it's another music anime, but this one the music takes a back seat to being more of a coming of age sort of story. Yeah, Kids on the Slope is excellent. Dragon Ball Super Broly is probably the best Dragon Ball Super film. Spirited Away, I have 8.5. I think Spirited Away is pretty fucking overrated. One Piece Film Gold, Your Lie in April, Watakoi Love is Hard for an Otaku, One Punch Man Season 2, My Dress Up Darling, Little Busters. This is Little Busters reframed, but I highly recommend that. Mind Over Totoro. The Wind Rises is an underrated gem, bro. This is my second favorite Miyazaki film. Second favorite Ghibli film of all time. Yeah, here's the original Little Busters. And Porco Rosso is another one of my favorite Ghibli films. No, I've not. So Monsters on my watch list. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Monsters, one of those anime that it's got such a perfect reputation that I have held off on watching it. Pokemon Origins, OG Fooly Cooly, baby, Goblin Slayer, the original Sonic OVA from 1996, JoJo's Part 1. Now, everyone's familiar with the movie Ninja Scroll, but what a lot of people don't know is Ninja Scroll got a series afterwards. Bro, the Ninja Scroll series is awesome. Devil's a Part-Timer is fucking great. Yu Yu Hakusho, obviously we got one of the goats up in this bitch, Yu Yu Hakusho. Oddly enough, the Sword Art Online movie, Ordinal Scale, was really fucking good since Sword Art Online kind of fucking blows. Hokkaido Gal Super Adorable is another one of the best anime of last year. Absolutely highly recommend this. Just came out last year. Did you ever get around to watching Shadow Skill? No, but it's on my list. Teen Titans is here as a joke. Juosei, Planet of the Beast King is incredible. Erased, Kaiju number 8, which I still need to finish season 2. Gurren Lagann, Food Wars, My Hero. Tiger and Bunny is really good. Dragon Ball Daima. Space Adventure Cobra, man. 1982, Space Adventure Cobra. That's some good shit. Crying Freeman, 1988, bro. Crying Freeman. That's some good shit right there. Watch Crying Freeman. It's only 6 episodes long. Pet Shop of Horrors. I really like Pet Shop of Horrors. Apparently, fans of the manga don't. They think it's a terrible adaptation. I've never read the manga, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But yeah, the anime is a lot of fun. No Guns Life, Skate the Infinity. Fucking love Skate the Infinity. That's a recent one that's really good. I have seen some of the Blackjack OVAs. I don't think I've seen all of them. The OG Dragon Ball, Paprika, Kono Oto Tomare Season 2. Bro, Memories. This is an anthology. So fucking good. Highly recommend Memories. You got Freerun up in here, OG Digimon, Millennium Actress is beautiful. Did you read Lone Wolf and Cub? I have not read Lone Wolf and Cub. Pokemon Twilight Wings, that was just a cute little short. Ass Class Season 2. Bleach 1000-Year Blood War. Ah, man, Rosario plus Vampire. Greatest harem anime of all time. Black Lagoon. Arcane. I don't know if it counts if it was on the list. Bro, Appleseed. Appleseed's a classic. Dirty Pair. Now, I only rated it an 8. I only rated it an 8. But this is one of my top 10 favorite anime of all time. Dirty Pair. Area 88 is a very interesting OVA. If you're into romance, High Score Girl is really good. Lily Cat is a lot of fun. Robot Carnival from 1987 is a lot of fun. The Girl from the Other Side. This is a very interesting short film from 2019. The Sea Prince and the Fire Child from 81. This is a really unique one. Very unique one. Let's see. His and Her Circumstances is a great romance, except for the last 2 episodes fucking blow. Great Teacher Onizuka. Dude, Goku Midnight Eye and Cyber City 808. If you want some classic cyberpunk, Cyber City 808 and Goku Midnight Eye are OG cyberpunk. There's only 2 episodes of Goku Midnight Eye and 3 episodes of Cyber City. You can get through them very easily. 3x3 Eyes. I forgot I watched 3x3 Eyes. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles anime that only lasted 2 episodes. This is a real thing. A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles anime that lasted all of 2 episodes. Ergo Proxy is good, albeit a bit pretentious. Let's see, what are some other classics we got in this bit? Hey, see, there's Code Geass. I told you I had Code Geass on here somewhere. Oh, man, OG Trigun. There's the original Ninja Scroll. Riding Bean is an OVA from 1989. Highly recommend Riding Bean. Suikoden Demon Century OVA from 93. Recommend that. But yeah, this is all-purpose cultural cat girl Nuka Nuku. This is a lot of fun. 12 episodes. Very easy watch. Otaku no Video is a mockumentary anime. Very interesting. Yes, Neo Yokio was the Jaden Smith anime, and it was funny as shit. A Wind Named Amnesia. This is fucking brilliant. Watch A Wind Named Amnesia. What is this one called? They Were 11. Yeah, They Were 11 was good. From 86. This, Project Echo. Bubblegum Crisis. Another classic. I think One Piece Red is great. Might be one of the best musicals ever. I like One Piece Red a lot. Yeah. Do I have One Piece Red on here? Hold on. One Piece. Oh, yeah, I've got it on here. Anyway, that's just a quick version of like some of the anime stylings I'm into. Yeah. That's a quick, quick tidbit on some of the anime that's my style. Dude, Gunsmith Cats is incredible. I fucking love Gunsmith Cats. Alrighty, crew. We got one more video. The Ridiculous World of Christmas Video Games. It's the Christmas season. We had to do a Christmas video. Let's go.
The holidays are upon us, and I want to talk about Christmas and video games. Not just Christmas video games, not just Christmas in video games, the whole shebang. I mean, the whole medium seems to revolve around the last few months of a year, with big holiday blockbusters coming out in November, big sales to get those games into your home, and maybe a nice surprise for little Jimmy on the 25th of December. It's something I've paid close attention to ever since I was a kid. Christmas time usually meant that I would be able to try out a new video game. Sometimes it'd be something that would stick with me forever, like Bomberman 64 or Persona 4. Other times I'd get Elemental Gimmick Gear.
Bro, we 30 seconds in and he already referenced Persona 4. Video gonna be goated.
Here, way too early and not understand a dang thing. I might have gotten video games for Christmas, but not.
You know, I'm trying to think back on it, and I can't recall, because my birthday's in the middle of the summer. My birthday's in July, right? So I would usually get consoles for my birthday in the middle of the summer, but I like games. I definitely got games specifically during Christmas. I know I've gotten I got Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for Christmas. I got the Shadow the Hedgehog video game for Christmas back in the day. See, Jack 2 was a birthday gift, not Christmas. Trying to think of some other games that were Christmas gifts. Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in game, Spider-Man 2. Dude, that was one of the greatest movie games of all time. Got that for Christmas. Yeah, man. Good times.
Once.
Second half of July. July 29th is my birthday.
Did I get a Christmas video game? This is like...
You got Skyrim for Christmas. I have never played Skyrim. I've tried to play it 3 times. I've never gotten more than 15 minutes into the game after character creation. I've never truly played Skyrim.
Like uber capitalism to the max. The type of things that exist purely to trick confused family members. Our grandson has the new Sega. Well, we'll get him a game for Christmas. Yeah, how about days before Christmas? Thanks, Grandma. Nothing says celebrating the Christmas spirit quite like a Santa Claus platformer where you're collecting presents.
Fuck, I would play the hell out of this, bro. Platformers are my jam. I would play the hell out of this.
Smacking festive Christmas
I'm a huge
enemies
Fallout
like
fan.
mice,
I love Fallout.
Tanks, and a full-on anti-Claus murder rampage prior to bringing the gifts to all the children. Why are some of the stage transitions so creepy? Who is this for, you might ask? Well, it ain't babies, and it ain't typical gamers, so it's either the Overstock trap or grandparent bait. One made by the developers of Dune Awakening, by the way. And this is just scratching the surface. Christmas has always been a big part of video games. Not only do we have these,
dude,
but we got
OG Rayman, like on the PS1. I love the OG Rayman games on the PS1.
Endless shovelware. We've got oodles of DLC and special holiday editions from the 90s and 2000s. There's Christmas DLC and special.
This is level 1 of Duke Nukem. I don't know what sort of mod they're running or what. This is level 1 of Duke Nukem.
Holiday editions from the 90s and 2000s. There's Christmas levels in every single platformer ever. And let us not forget to partake in the holiday meme shit. There's even video games that take place.
If he doesn't mention the Christmas specials for Jazz Jackrabbit, I'm gonna be so upset.
On Christmas, because why else is Batman in the thumbnail? It's time for Christmas and video games.
I was just talking about this game on AJ's stream last week. The How the Grinch Stole Christmas game for Dreamcast is legitimately awesome.
So yo, it's Austin, and today we're gonna be diving into the ridiculous world of Christmas and video games, because apparently there's enough for an entire one of these. We've got a lot to get into today, but before we get started, I gotta talk about the greatest video game genre on Earth with today's sponsor, Disney Speed.
Alright, y'all know the deal. We let sponsor reads play out if we're gonna steal some content.
Storm. You know what rules? Kart racers. We've talked about a ton of these, and Disney Speedstorm's a solid one. Pick one of several fan favorite characters like Mickey Mouse, Mulan, each with a unique skill set.
I will never play this.
High-speed tracks inspired by classic Disney and Pixar worlds. It's free to play. It's available on like every device. That's PC, mobile, consoles. It's got cross-platform play and save, so you can play with anyone just about anywhere. Disney Speedstorm has various game modes to explore and lots of individual customization for racers and karts, including
Jack Sparrow looked fucking wild, bro.
Including fun costumes. I actually played this a good bit when it came out, and I was tearing up the road as Mike Wazowski, because one eye's all you need for sick drifts. Disney Speedstorm gets lots of updates with brand new characters and worlds.
I'm right there with you, Lestis. Agreed.
The world of Zootopia. Join the race as Judy, Nick, and Flash to celebrate the release of Zootopia 2. There's also a brand new course based on the film and a ton of Zootopia-themed events and game to play. Alongside
well, we know it's going to do well in China.
In partnership with speedrun.com that's going to be running December 19th to 27th. Catch a high-priority suspect as ZPD officers Judy and Nick with potential prizes and digital rewards for doing so. So if you want to hop into the races, download Disney Speedstorm using my link in the comments. You can download the game with the link in the description or the QR code, and make sure to use code AustinEruption on screen to claim in-game gifts today. Thanks to Gameloft for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get into it. And I'm not sure where else to start besides the beginning. Christmas has been a huge part of video games since the early days. I mean, if you were around in the 80s, you might have stumbled upon a copy of ThoughtWare's Jingle Disc. There's nothing like a holiday greetings card from a friend. So how about a digital one you can slap in your PC?
Wait, it's literally just a digital fucking Christmas card. That's kind of awesome.
A beautiful, wholesome Christmas program. Not really a video game per se, but just a thing you'd slap into your computers, read a few poems, about 4 to 5 minutes worth of content that you pay real money for. It's also a holiday card maker, if you'd like. If you ever made or received a Jingle Disc holiday card in your lifetime, please let me know. I gotta know.
I would love to have one. I would love to get one of
Christmas
these.
Computer program, Maria's Christmas Box. A totally normal.
A Christmas box, you say? Go on.
Normal poker game. Sure, you can play it on the Amiga, but I prefer the ZX Spectrum version. It's abstract. I think the first actual Christmas video game has to be 1984's Special Delivery Santa's Christmas Chaos. This came out on a few platforms like the C64 and ZX Spectrum, and it's essentially a horizontal scroller where you dodge lightning, catch presents, dive into chimneys while dodging fire, then navigating an insane house layout to deliver presents and escape out the front. Turns out everyone's a—
Bro, Santa got a fucking dump truck ass, though. Look at that, bro. Santa got a dump truck ass.
awake on Christmas Eve. Did Goodnight Moon teach you people nothing? Do we need the sequel? It's a shame though, this game is unfortunately a bootleg. That's right, if you want to get into the Christmas spirit for real, you need the official Father Christmas.
Riveting.
It's official. Bad. Official Father Christmas is something you can crush in like 10 to 20 minutes. First, you gotta put together your sleigh, which seems simple enough, but Santa's elves are hell-bent on making things miserable. Probably union-related. Eventually, you're delivering Christmas presents in something that controls as poor as it looks, but honestly, this whole thing was put together to support Save the Children, so I can't dog on it too much. I do like—
Oh no, you absolutely can dog on it. Fuck them kids.
Like that Santa delivers presents in order to America, Europe, Africa, Antarctica, and then the final level, Finland. Y'all know Monty Mole? This was a short-lived British video game series for various PCs in the 80s that you might have seen tossed into a cheap collection on the eShop. But the fifth game in the series was Moly Christmas.
Oh, Moly Night.
A very basic late 80s platforming game, beatable in a few
It doesn't even look like Christmas, bro. What is Christmas about this?
minutes, and more of a free conversion of the franchise for the sake of Christmas. But hey, we'll get to a few more of those later. Did you know the Philips CDI has not one, but 2 Christmas video games? 2 games that are actually unemulatable
Yeah, the box
due to
art.
the state of the software and the fact that you need a digital video cartridge in order to play them. Christmas Crisis and Christmas Country. Both are 2D platformers, both do similar things, but only one is considered one of the best Philips CDI games. I'm not kidding. I'll let you guess.
I don't know that I've ever actually definitively heard anyone say what are the best Philips CDI games.
Switch. The answer is the one with music. Christmas Country has no in-game music. Perfect. Christmas Crisis has an insane—
I can't imagine playing a fucking video game, even because I play so many classic games. I can't imagine playing a classic game like that, dude, without fucking background music. That's wild.
jump speed, some chill Christmas MIDI tracks, and it seems to function like a normal video game, one with occasional first-person navigation. Unfortunately, I can't get a good grasp on either of these due to the fact that I'm not gonna toss several $100s into a vat for a console, the cartridge, and the games, but well, it looks like the CDI was quite the jolly system. It also had You Sing Christmas Favorites and a Christmas songbook, programs for everyone. Last up on our list of good old-fashioned wholesome Christmas and Santa video games, because we aren't gonna talk about Santa.
No, we need to talk about whatever this is. I don't know what this is, but we need to talk about it because I'm here for it.
Cocoon. Santa Claus in Trouble. Originally released in 2002, Santa Claus in Trouble was made by Joy Mania Development, which is probably the same emotion they wanted you to feel while playing this. Santa in Trouble is a very simplistic 3D platformer. You gotta run through a ton of levels collecting presents because somehow you lost everything, and they all just happen to land on random floating platforms in the sky. This is one of those games that looks the exact same the entire time. There's a giant void of darkness underneath you, creepy creepy goblins.
Yeah, but there's something that's charming about that for like 2 hours. If this is a nice, quick 2-hour romp, then it's probably worth it.
Are mucking about with Santa hats on, and you'll slowly make your way through. And I mean slow. But at least Santa can change the trajectory of his jump in real time. That's cool, I guess. 2 years later, they'd release a follow-up, Santa Claus in Trouble Again, because I guess this guy can't keep track of it.
No, hold on.
Release a follow-up, Santa
Claus in Trouble Again 2. Which means this is the sequel to him being in trouble again. So this is actually the 3rd time that Santa's been in trouble.
In Trouble Again, because I guess this guy can't keep track of anything. Both of these were freeware on release, and were about as good as you could be as a wholesome Christmas game. They'd also be compiled into an HD version in 2020, Santa Claus in Trouble HD. Not
no
offensive,
fucking way. Is that on Steam right now? It's on Steam right now for $2.49. Does it have achievements? 18 achievements. That's I might get this game, guys. We might be having a Christmas gaming stream sometime in the near future. Holy shit. That was amazing. Do games have to have achievements for you? If it's gonna be a game like that, then yes. Like, if I'm gonna put the time into playing what is very obviously an old, janky game, then I at least want to get achievements for some sort of a sense of accomplishment. But no, games don't have to have achievements. I like achievement hunting. I'm a completionist. I think it's fun. I think it harkens back to growing up, my favorite sorts of games were collectathons, like Spyro, Jak and Daxter, stuff like that. So there was this sense of accomplishment when you like found all the gems or all the precursor orbs in a level. So having achievements in games adds that same sort of like dopamine hit.
Bad, simply a video game. $9.99 well spent.
Hey, you. Finally awake.
All right, that's enough of the cute, festive, family-friendly stuff. It's time to dive into the bizarre. The kind of stuff that makes you go, hey, what the frick? Games that are just clear cash grabs, max capitalism, and...
not only have I not gotten all the Riddler trophies, I have played Batman Arkham Asylum all of a handful of times on the PS3 back in the day, and I never played any of the sequels. Because I'm not a Batman fan. They're brilliant games. I think that at least the first one, brilliant game. I've heard the second and third are also very beautifully well-made games. But I don't like Batman.
Nonsense that probably isn't in the spirit of the holiday. When you think of crappy Christmas video games, you probably think of Elf Bowling. Santa has had enough.
I feel like I've actually played Elf Bowling.
The Elf Bowling franchise is one that, well, the idea of calling it a franchise is wild, but there's a whole bunch of these, and I can't download half of them because they get marked as viruses. In the Elf Bowling series, you basically like throw balls or elves and in different sport things. They're all flash or
I forgot you like the illegal alien Ice Needs Some Green Bullets. Oh yeah, because I'm a Superman fan, absolutely. Butterframe and gold for a 2-banger. Check for a kid. Did you give me the fucking no way? My man. Alrighty, I'll accept this. We'll do a stream of it on the gaming stream sometime in the next few days. Shout out, Butter. Thanks a mil, man.
Low budget nonsense with close to no gameplay. We've got Elf Bowling 1, Elves in
No,
Paradise,
I've never played
Bowling
Superman
2,
64.
Elf Bowling 3 has you throwing them onto targets. There's Elf Bowling Bocce style, Super Elf Bowling, Elf Bowling 6, Air Biscuits, and the holiday pack that comes with Hawaiian Vacation and 7 1/7 The Last Insult. I have no idea how we got this many games about Santa beating the crap out of his working staff, but to be fair, they might deserve it.
Is that all the balls you've got, Santa? Good things come to those who gain weight. You suck!
That's awesome.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Elf Bowling 1 and 2 made its way to Game Boy Advance and DS, has the metascore you would expect, and kinda sucks. It's not a game, but they actually adapted this franchise into a movie. Elf Bowling the movie, The Great North Pole Elf Strike.
What?
They got freaking SpongeBob for it. How did this happen?
I feel like we also need to watch this. I wonder if this is on YouTube, if you could just get away with watching it on YouTube. Elf Bowling the movie. Bro, it is right here. 4 years ago, still on YouTube with 56,000 views. We might need to just do an entire fucking Christmas stream on the gaming channel. Holy shit.
I'd like to think that Elf Bowling is Uncle Core. There's a lot of games that'll have you turning your head. The self-referential parody style that usually ends up mashing Christmas and violence into a single package. 1995's Terror in Christmas Town is exactly that.
War Wizard for a 2-banger anime girl is a game called Santa-kun. Seems fun. I'm down for it, bro. Absolutely.
Originally based on a little shareware title called Santa's Rescue 3D, they basically turned that into a first-person shooter where you run around blasting Christmas-related things. It's a big ol' whatever. Then you got something like Jack in the Dark. Infogrames made a spin-off promotional game to get the word out about Alone in the Dark 2, where you would play as a child named Grace Saunders, stuck in a toy store on Halloween, which sounds like it's not Christmas, but the whole game has you, guess what, saving Santa Claus. Homies in the Jack in the Box prison. Ho ho ho, please buy Alone in the Dark 2, which also features you putting on a Santa suit. Some of these are just tangentially related. There's James Pond 2, codename RoboCod, where you play as James Pond. Turns out the game with a reference to Bond and RoboCop is actually about saving Christmas as the North Pole's been taken over.
That were all, like, I could get James Bond, RoboCop, putting those together. Okay, you can do something with that, but throwing Christmas in there. Bro, I miss the fucking Wild West. This is why, by the way, this is why modern day indie gaming is succeeding and winning and is the best thing in the history of ever, because it's bringing back shit like this.
It's a pretty solid platformer with an interesting stretching mechanic.
Jack in the Dark is what I do every night before I go to sleep. Well played.
The RoboCod enhancements let him do some of this, which is also horrifying to think James here is just a fish that got chopped in half. It's time to save Christmas, James. Santa Claus Jr., developed by Neon Software, also responsible for Mr. Nuts, Hoppin' Mad, and Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX for the Game Boy Color. This one's a simple platformer. Santa's been shrunken down and shoved into a fishbowl completely naked by some witch, so it's up to your dope self, barely fitting into the Santa jacket, to save the day. This one's not bad. There's a lot of stage variety, and Santa Jr.'s got a good amount of unique animation as he plods around. Music's also got a good vibe. Honestly, this might be one of the better Christmas games out there. It feels more like a better than average platformer where you're playing as a small wizard that collects candy canes and not so much ho ho ho, Christmas time, baby.
What would you like for Christmas, huh?
The sequel, on the other hand, yes, sequel, Santa Claus Jr. Advance. This one's okay. It's been a year, Nick's a bit older and more 2000s cool, and this time he can run. The witch is back, Santa's not gonna deal with any of that, so it's off you go. Although that doesn't stop him from judging your performance with hand motions at the end of levels. Nick's got more powers, but
Santa.
honestly, this whole game feels a lot less
Talk
charming
shit
than
to
the
your
original.
son, make him
Visual
a
style's
man.
all over the place. Level design is okay at best, and honestly, you'll have a better time with the first one. They're both certainly better than Santa Claus Saves the Earth. Santa must save the world from the evil polluton. Navigate various environments like this.
Oh my god, we got a Greenpeace Santa game. Bringing everybody, like, his sack is just filled with Inconvenient Truth DVDs.
Endless mine shaft. Make your way to stage 3, which depicts what looks like a rocket ship or some cannon blowing up the planet, and try to survive. Oh, Santa disintegrated. You did not make it. Oh, no. Rest in peace, Santa Claus. To be honest, a lot of Christmas video games are kind of like this.
Yeah, a villain that would be in Captain
non-games
Planet,
or meme
exactly.
shit. For every slop shop hitting Steam, there's also a Christmas Massacre. The second release by Puppet Combo, a VHS-styled horror slasher game that's in the name. Essentially, a short 3D version of Hotline Miami with an aesthetic that'll stick in your brain. You play as a guy named Larry. You know what's going on. You just might not expect a Christmas tree with lips.
This actually seems awesome.
Which leaves us with two more what the heck games. First up, Cthulhu Saves Christmas, the sequel to Cthulhu Saves the World, and a fun indie JRPG comedy game by Zeboyd Digital. You might recognize some of their other releases like Cosmic Star Heroine or Breath of Death 7, the latter a big star on the Xbox Live Indie Arcade back in the day. Well, Cthulhu Saves...
This, I'm gonna be real, this title screen goes fucking hard. Cthulhu Saves Christmas, like, this looks sick.
Christmas is once again in the name. Everyone's favorite eldritch horror is in charge of making sure Santa does his job as you go to Christmas Eve day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on, looking to defeat the Christmas League of Evil. It's goofy, the music's pretty good, it's short, funny, and a solid RPG for those who have free time on a cold winter day. And lastly, when I say the words Christmas Metroidvania, how do you feel? I assume the first emotion is fear, but honestly, Ebenezer in the Invisible World is a...
Alright, this is fine, but this don't go as hard as Cthulhu Saves Christmas. Like, I'm sorry, you need to up your fucking game.
A lot better than you would expect. Advertising itself as a reimagined version of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, you play as Ebenezer Scrooge, who has basically found a way to work together with the ghosts of Christmas.
And you know, hold on.
Carol, you play as Ebenezer Scrooge, who...
You know there are broads out there that call this daddy. That call this is a DILF or whatnot. Like, you know this motherfucker's been Rule 34 by Tumblr.
Has basically found a way to work together with the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, alongside other spectral people as he makes his way through London, trying to put a stop to the evil plot of one Casper Malthus. Essentially, Scrooge is now fighting against capitalism in this $20 video game that's a sequel to A Christmas Carol.
You're fucking joking. They made an anti-capitalist Scrooge game. Sold it for $20 and made him the hero. Yep, nope. I would never touch this. Yeah, exactly, Lessis. And you lost me.
The surprising part is, it's actually pretty good. And it seems like others think so too. It's mostly positive on Steam. There's a cool weapon variety and ability ramp treadmill that expands your moveset with time and a cool set of abilities. The animations are way better than you'd think, although it's hilarious to look at the bottom of the screen and see Ebenezer's face just staring at you. There's moments where I totally forget I'm playing a Christmas video game until I like run into the spirit of Christmas past who's like, hey dude, what's going on? With everything I've said, you can glean pretty into the spirit of Christmas past who's like, hey dude, what's...
No, that's disgusting. How you make Ebenezer Scrooge look like a daddy, and then you give the dudes fucking bald, like pseudo Super Saiyan ugly broad with no titties. Yo, fuck this game, bro.
What's going on? With everything I've said, you can glean pretty much everything you need to know from looking at the screen right now.
Yes, Ray Swap Cynthia Revo, yes.
Hollow Knight-like due to some of its mechanics. You equip 4 different accessories to change your stats and movesets, unlock teleport points via the London Ghost Tram, so there's a lot of backtracking. There's no RPG leveling up stats or XP at all, so if this is the type of game you're into, you could do a lot worse. Ebenezer in the Invisible World is a bizarre Christmas-themed game that has no reason to exist. I don't think anyone was out there asking to double jump with Scrooge. It takes itself so seriously, and I love it. That sure was a lot, but for now let's keep things moving with a tradition that may not be as common these days, but still exists. Back in the 90s, a lot of video games had Christmas-themed packs and dim...
Yes, let's go. Okay, this will be a point in the game with some stuff that I very well might be familiar with.
It was basically a tradition. The earliest that I remember seeing was Christmas Lemmings. The popularity of Lemmings in Europe cannot be understated. Not only did the franchise pop off in the 90s, but it was big enough to support not 1, not 2, but 4 totally different holiday-themed puzzle games. The first 2 were included with various gaming and Amiga format magazines before they went ahead and created Holiday Lemmings 1993 and 1994.
So I'm familiar with the Lemmings game, but I never played it. I don't know about any of y'all in chat. I know I got some other old heads in here like me. I never played Lemmings. If you guys did, let me know.
They didn't have a ton of levels, but were essentially created as shareware and demos to promote Oh No More Lemmings before being turned into full retail releases. It's well,
yeah, see,
it's
Lessis.
Lemmings,
I
but with
figured
some
Lessis would have
classic
played
Christmas
it.
tunes. Yeah, that's the 90s. DMA Design wouldn't be the only ones to do this though, not even close. We've got Jetpack Christmas Special for all the big Jetpack fans. We got All Terrain Racing Christmas Edition. There's Cannon Soccer, a combination of cannon fodder and sensible soccer. A vast majority of these were included with Amiga magazines, and same with Fire and Ice Christmas Special.
This is like something I would have played.
Anyone
Never
else
played
spending their
that
holidays in the
specifically, but
club?
that is something I certainly would have played.
But these obviously didn't have the same impact in the States as the Amiga, didn't have nearly the same presence, but I do remember seeing.
There it is, son! I told you it was gonna have the Jazz Jackrabbit Christmas on here. Let's go. This may be my first quote-unquote DLC, because it wasn't really DLC. These were add-ons, but like, bro, I went so fucking hard on Jazz Jackrabbit back in the day. This, like, if Sonic the Hedgehog were my #1 spot, bro, Jazz was right under there.
Jazz Jackrabbit Holiday Hair 94. Now, if you haven't played Jazz Jackrabbit, you should. It's basically what if Sonic and Bucky O'Hare got fused into one, and it's frequently seen as one of the best platformers on MS-DOS. It gained a lot of popularity as shareware, and in late 1994, Epic Mega Games would slap this into the world with a brand new planet, Holideus. Sure, it's like another 15 minutes of gameplay tops, but for fans of Jazz or those who just wanted
The music in this level though goes so fucking hard, man. Like, you've got if I say the word 90s music, like quintessential 90s music, you have a sound in your head, and then mix that with Christmas music.
try a cool shareware demo, it was fantastic. Nothing like a heavy butt rock version of Sleigh Ride.
Bro, perfection.
The following year, Holiday Hair.
Abomination AJ, you out here claiming to be a fucking werewolf and shit, and you've never heard of Jazz Jackrabbit, you fucking poser.
95, then the less successful sequel, Jazz Jackrabbit 2, had Holiday Hair 98, and the enhanced version, The Christmas Chronicles. Holiday Hair is like a full-on 45-minute game, but it was also a standalone release you had to buy in stores. A solid Christmas pack that expands on this underrated title. I think my favorite one of these has to be Duke Nuclear Winter. Now,
I never got to play this. I'm a huge Duke Nukem fan. I never got to fucking play this.
Because it's any good, because it's not great, but because...
Wait a sec. Is this on my Duke Nukem collection that I have? Hold on. Is Nuclear Winter gotta be on there, right? If so... No, see, it's not on here. No, it's not on. Why? Nope. Yeah, I'll check the... Let's just check the map. It's not letting me type. Yeah, it's not even letting me type in the workshop maps. Damn. Alright, let's hold on. Alright. Point, Land, shop back. Is it any of the episode lists? Hollywood Inferno, Golden Carnage. I know it's not in Lunar Apocalypse, so I'm pretty sure I've already beaten Lunar Apocalypse. I'm so sad, bro. I'm so sad. I guess I still won't get the chance to play it.
The entire concept is so dumb. Duke Nukem 3D is a fantastic first-person shooter, full stop. Its gameplay's held up, its campy miss is unmatched, and the Duke remains an icon of...
Is Nuclear Winter this as a standalone on Steam? I don't know. Let's take a look. Alright, Duke Nukem Forever. I would ironically probably play that. Bulletstorm Tour, Duke Nukem Forever Collection. Pinball Call Me. Hail to the Icons Parody Pack. No! Let's, Duke Nukem. Nope. Is it in this? Nope. Not even on Steam. Not even on Steam.
3D Realms and early 90s shooters alongside Doom. But you may not know that 3D got itself a whole bunch of expansion packs and add-ons around the time. Not like by 3D Realms, but authorized expansions by GT Interactive. We had Duke It Out in DC, Duke Nukem's Penthouse Paradise, Duke Caribbean, Life's a Beach. Look, these covers are just him doing the same thing again. Duke Nuclear Winter is, well... Look, these covers are just him doing...
Greatest image in gaming history. Greatest image in gaming. Look at this beauty.
Doing the same thing again. Duke Nuclear Winter is, well, that cover explains it all. Duke Nuclear Winter was a full-ass chapter of 3D sold in stores with a big old box where you play as the cigar-toting baddie-loving Nukem on a mission to stop a brainwashed Santa Claus from doing things. I mean, you look at the game and it's to stop a brainwashed Santa Claus.
Duke, you must hurry to the North Pole. The aliens you defeated last season return and are being supported by a splitter movement known as the Feminist Elven Militia. Yes, it's even anti-feminist. They have brainwashed Santa and are going to use him to try and take over the world. Bro. The Feminist Elven Militia. Fucking let's go.
Claus from doing things. I mean, you look at the game and it's just the Duke fighting snowmen, aliens dressed up in Santa fits, and elves with machine guns. All set to cheery Christmas tunes. A hilarious idea, but also a lackluster conversion, as there's a lack of experience with the level design. Some of the maps are straight up lifted out of Duke 3D's LA Meltdown chapter. Other levels are poorly executed concepts that have no staying power, except for maybe the crates that say toys for poor kids or
toys for poor kids. That's awesome.
The final boss.
Oh, it's not nice to shoot Santa.
Yeah, I don't know what else you'd expect. It's old Duke taking out Kris Kringle, saving some babes in the North Pole, and a scary 3D animation of Frosty the Snowman blessing the world with a Duke Nukem Christmas poem.
I would play the fuck out of it. I don't care.
Holes. Duke Nukem kicks ass, and to all a good night. This sucks, and I love it.
Let's rock.
That's not all, though. Christmas Nights into Dreams was a little demo you could pick up.
I never played Christmas Nights into Dreams, but man, OG Nights into Dreams was a fucking trip, dude.
With various magazines like Next Generation or certain Saturn purchases, that was a single level demo of Nights, but Christmas. It actually came with a full-on opening cutscene, a new soundtrack and level, and a few other hidden things. The disc would actually change what the game was based on the time of year on your Sega Saturn, those being New Year's Nights, Winter Nights, and even a Sonic the Hedgehog thing. If it wasn't winter at all, you'd be playing Nights Limited Edition. It's essentially a demo for that game, something that I've always had a hard time understanding, but still cool nonetheless. Same deal with Toy Commander Christmas Edition for the Dreamcast. It's Toy Commander, it's got Christmas, you got Santa with a jetpack. You know, it's Toy Commander, supremely underrated. After the 90s, the physical holiday expansion would fade out pretty quick and make way for the next era of Christmas in video games, the levels. A lot of developers would throw...
All right. Christmas levels in gaming. We know we're gonna hit some classics with like Mario and Sonic and shit. Let's go.
Random holiday references into like any game they were making. Freezy Peak and Banjo-Kazooie, Christmas showing up in Bully, Frosty Village and Diddy Kong Racing, Christmas Town and Kingdom Hearts 2. You got
Christmas Town and Kingdom Hearts 2 is fucking incredible. And I credit that as the reason I don't completely hate the Nightmare Before Christmas, because most of the Nightmare Before Christmas modern fan base fucking sucks.
Got Holly Jolly and Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Holiday Broadcasting and Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko, Mario Kart 64, Gorilla Glacier and Donkey Kong Country. Heck, even Snowden and Undertale is a Christmas area. It's a pretty common occurrence these days with plenty of examples and more coming all the time. And this opens up even further with the existence.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Did Pumpkin Jack get a sequel? I played this game for the first time a few days before Halloween, and I played it through, like, it is one of the best, like, modern PS2 era throwback games. I 100% completed on Steam. This shit was awesome.
Of holiday DLC. If we move full steam ahead into the, well, Steam era, there's countless video games getting Christmas-themed mission packs, events, skins, and random expansions that you can't even keep up with. Not all are good, mind you, but some of them are like Killing Floor Twisted Christmas. This was a yearly event they ran in both Killing Floor 1 and 2, where, well, it's simple. You play as your standard squad looking for money to kill zombies with, except it's Christmas. You're in Santa's workshop. The Zeds are dressed up like freaking snowmen, elves, Rudolph, gingerbread men with chainsaws. You're just playing Killing Floor with a dissonant Christmas theme, and it's a fun time. This is a neat yearly tradition
you could say that,
both
Fallen
Killing
Angel.
Floor 1 and 2, which hasn't actually made its way into Killing Floor 3 yet, adding to the disappointment that game has caused over the last year. Twisted Christmas is a tradition, and I love game developers supporting their games with silly stuff like this. Ever heard of Viscera Cleanup Detail? It's basically power washing sim, except you're the janitor who's cleaning up the space station after a horrible alien thing probably happened. Well, prior to that game's official launch, they released standalone levels, one for Shadow Warrior and the other for Christmas, Santa's Rampage. I mean, you're looking at the screen, you see the name of the game, you know what this is, Christmas. Holiday-themed events are now really common for video games, quality be damned. Borderlands 2 has a DLC called How Marcus Saved Mercenary Day, where you're battling against the abominable Mr. Tender Snowflake and a whole bunch of smug-looking snowmen. Saints Row 4 How the Saints Save Christmas is a short and sweet DLC pack in the season pass for that game. Nothing like delivering presents to all the children with a VTOL sleigh while doing air combat. Time to ungrinch yourself and save Santa like a good saint.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
If you want something a little less violent, more cozy, Lake Season's Greetings.
I do not. Cozy games fucking suck. Cozy games will always suck. This is one of the most disappointing genres to ever come out of gaming, and if you are a cozy game fan and you only play cozy games, you're not a gamer, you're a fucking fraud.
We'll have you exploring Providence Oaks over the holidays while delivering packages in a cozy manner. Play an MMO, I bet it's got a Christmas event. We may not
I've spent a lot of time in the Christmas events for fucking World of Warcraft.
be getting full-on Christmas video games and expansions these days, but if you want to play a weird rhythm minigame in Final Fantasy XIV during the Starlight Celebration, you've got it.
I good goddamn guarantee you that Hypnotic has done that. He's maxed it out, and he has no reason to ever go back to it because Hypno has done fucking everything on Final Fantasy XIV.
Then there's one more layer. We got Christmas oddities, Christmas programs, slop, DLC, and level packs, but what about games on Christmas?
Oh, you're not gonna do licensed games?
Sometimes 1225 or 2512 might be used in something that may not be about the holiday exclusively. For instance, it may not be important to anything really, but Metal Gear 2 takes place around Christmas. It's kind of like Die Hard taking place on Christmas. John McClane may not save Christmas, but in stopping the terrorist
Now fuck you, John McClane does save Christmas.
attack at Nakatomi Plaza, he in fact saved Christmas, which I guess means Solid Snake heading to Zanzibar Land on Christmas Eve also counts. Sure, there's plenty of examples like this. Squaresoft classic survival horror Parasite Eve takes place on Christmas, opening with a horrifying opera sequence on.
I never would have thought of Parasite Eve being a Christmas game, but I guess technically, Rand, technically it is.
Christmas Eve, leading into the body horror-driven narrative taking place all over the break. Unfortunately, that means if you were living in New York in this world, the holidays were probably a bust. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Let us not forget Bayonetta 2. Look, it's freaking Santa Claus. Smoking.
Watch your mouth.
Based. Is Santa black in Bayonetta? Hold on. Is Santa black in Bayonetta? Because this kind of works. I ain't gonna front. This kind of works. AJ, if you're still in the chat, I need to know your thoughts about this.
Technically, Ubisoft's The Division is also a Christmas game. Well, the pandemic outbreak started around Christmas anyways. There's lights and trees spread throughout the game with an outpost playing festive music. You can embrace the eternal holiday season with the sound of bullet rounds popping off and open world PvP.
Oh, that's Rodin the Merchant in a Santa costume. Gotcha. Okay.
Look, at a certain point, I'm just going to be saying, this takes place on Christmas, this takes place on Christmas, so I'll spare the details. But if you ever boot up Yakuza Kiwami, Dead Rising 4, or any of these several Batman Returns ports, it'll be Grimace. Speaking of Batman, Arkham Origins is an underrated entry in this franchise with a fantastic holiday atmosphere. Batman Arkham Origins is a funny one because it's typically counted outside of the trilogy. Instead of Rocksteady, Origins was developed by Warner Brothers Games Montreal, the people responsible for Gotham Knights, and truthfully, I've neglected this one. The premise is pretty solid. WB Games took the map of Gotham from Arkham City, revamped it up a bit, covered it in snow, and presented a prequel to the franchise that was a lot better than you would expect. You take a younger Bat, have him face a bounty put on him by Black Mask, which brings out 7 deadly assassins to Gotham on Christmas Eve. You meet and fight the Rogues Gallery, you win the game. It's a perfect reuse of assets and something I'd love to see more often. Taking the prequel route, WB Games was able to add a lot to Bruce's character and some of the villains in the Arkhamverse, yet I still feel like it's seen as the black sheep of the franchise. It's also the one that features Deathstroke, and he's awesome. I need to spend a bit more time with it too, but I will say the snowy, cold, foggy atmosphere of winter Gotham is its own character. Christmas may not be like important in the story, but the element of the season is all over the screen. This game also added a detective mode, which makes you spend a lot more time digging through the environment, which will make exploration a lot more meaningful. Arkham Origins is super underrated, and it's also got that multiplayer mode with the 2v3 that you can still play with mods. But most of all, even the least appreciated Arkham game is still peak. Lastly, Death Smiles 2, aka Death Smiles 2X Makai no Merry Christmas, aka Merry Christmas in Hell.
I don't know what any of what he just said was, but it still all sounded awesome.
Some of y'all might know Death Smiles as that one collector's edition for the Xbox 360 that came with a faceplate that a lot of people I knew had for some reason, but it's also a side-scrolling bullet hell shmup by legendary dev Cave, who do a lot of these. The original supposedly takes place on Halloween, so where else to go than to the most wonderful time of the year.
What the fuck are we looking at?
Most wonderful time of the year. Death Smiles 2 is pretty good though. It was the first game Cave developed using 3D models as opposed to sprites, and they sure spared no expense making this game as Christmassy as possible. The stages, the bosses, the menu, the music, you know, just a Christmas where Satan Claus shows up.
I kinda dig this, man.
And kills your grandfather.
Merry Christmas.
All the menus have wreaths, Christmas decorations, there's a constant slew of sleigh bells in the background, and then of course you dive straight into metaphorical hell. Is this really a Christmas game? I'm not sure, but some of the holiday cheery sounding music is a total vibe. And now one last topic, and I'm sure it's something a lot of y'all have been waiting on. There are a lot of licensed Christmas games.
Let's go. Licensed games,
based
baby.
on the movies and characters we were shown growing up. Because if you thought we were gonna be making it through one of these videos without talking about some Grinch video games,
we gotta talk about fucking Dreamcast, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, because the game is goated even if that movie sucks.
You were sorely mistaken.
Here it is.
Oh, I wish you were right. I'm not really sure how we live in a dimension where there are 4 separate, completely different Grinch video games, but here we are. Dr. Seuss's famous anti-capitalist, anti-Christmas spirit cool guy has been commodified into several movies, all sorts of toys, things, and multiple video games for different generations to enjoy. The first of which was made by Konami. Grinch for the Dreamcast and PlayStation 1, developed by Artificial Mind and Movement, was not an official tie-in game for the Jim Carrey movie, but it did release a week prior.
This wasn't a tie-in for the Jim Carrey movie? I always thought it was.
Prior to that coming out, so it might as well be. This here's a platformer where you saunter around doing Grinch things. And I do mean saunter. Look at this unwieldy walk cycle. We follow the Grinch as he's upset about Christmas joy and decides to throw down with the entire Whovian people. He's got rocket jets, he's got rotten egg guns, he's basically Wile E. Coyote with a bunch of blueprints and gadgets designed to ruin everyone's day while flattening Christmas presents with his—
Yeah, look at that. Like, because that's the same mayor from the movie. This absolutely was a tie-in. Because in the game, you wear, like, the disguise the Grinch uses. Yeah, this was a tie-in.
Large ass. You ever met anyone with breath this bad? Yep, that's the Grinch, and he's sure to let you know.
Yeah, Grinch!
Isn't that his name? I don't recall this dude being a Pokemon, just a fellow Christmas hater. Anyways, yeah, this game sucks. I mean, just look at the dang thing.
No,
You're
fuck you, this
constantly
game's
fighting
awesome.
against with whatever the heck is supposed to be going on. Most goals are really confusing and boring. Stealth gameplay does not work in a game that is also unfun to play. It's also very hard to tell what you're supposed to be doing at any point. I mean, you can hit start and see your goals, but they don't really expand on that. The controls are a mess, unresponsive, and I couldn't do a single mission in a reasonable amount of time without looking at a guide. Backtrack.
Bro, nah, you must be a fake gamer, because I was playing this game to success when I was a wee lad.
In my 3D Grinch platformer, no thanks. I think the aggregate scores from the time tell the correct story, especially when you can get stuck in endless combat.
It's unbearable!
Grinch on the Dreamcast is a fever dream. I'd much rather play Grinch on the Game Boy Color. Yo, why he posed up like that? Developed by Konami Nagoya, The Grinch is a basic maze-style adventure where you run around collecting presents and dodging Whovians Metal Gear Solid style. It's actually got a good amount of charm. The music throws down. The animations have a lot of character. I mean, look at Max getting chased around. Truthfully, this one is really simplistic and repetitive. It's not very long, and I'm sure there's hundreds of other games.
Bitch slap a Whovian?
Before this,
yes!
But I'm surprised they pulled off a decent title. Heck, it somehow smuggled its way into the IGN Best of 2000 awards, being the runner-up to Metal Slug's second mission and Best Action Game for Game Boy. How did that happen? 10-year-old me probably would have loved this. Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas for the Nintendo DS. Not today. Nothing like a 2D stealth platformer where everyone moves at a snail's pace. This is like a flash game you'd find on CartoonNetwork.com, except they're charging real money. And lastly, shoot forward to 2023, we've got a brand new Grinch video game, The Grinch Christmas Adventures. It's serviceable, at least I thought until I—
Is this based off that dumbass, terrible fucking Benedict Cumbersnoodle movie?
Realized I was playing without the audio. Let me just turn that on real quick.
Huh.
Yeah, you're gonna be hearing that sharp ting with every present, huh? The Grinch Christmas Adventures, or the version I played, the Merry and Mischievous Edition, because it got brand new DLC in 2025, is a—
They released DLC for this 2 months ago? What?
A bog standard platformer where you play as the green dude, grabbing presents and going to the next level. What you see is literally what you get. You dodge obstacles, you go into houses for stealth segments, and by stealth, I mean just running through because the AI is incapable of posing a threat. Even still, just duck under a table right in front of him. Oh, where'd he go?
He was here a second ago.
Rinse repeat forever, or until you accidentally clip through the walls and end up in an interdimensional Grinch rift. This keeps happening to me. I felt a whole lot of nothing playing this,
What
except
the
like
fuck
a
is this
single
game?
giggle when I
Bro, this is Big Rigs the Grinch.
found out you could speed up the spoken dialogue.
The Grinch can't squeeze through. These pipes are too small. But for Max, getting by is no trouble at all.
I feel similarly about Elf on the Shelf Christmas Heroes, which makes sense considering it is the exact same developer and publisher duo, Outright Games and Casual Brothers. I don't like Elf on the Shelf. Like the concept, no, it's not for me. But this game—
Now for that, I think the concept of Elf on the Shelf is awesome. I actually really like Elf on the Shelf. There's a certain Christmas magic to that.
with a single user review on Steam.
I hate this dude just straight up Grinch himself. Homie hates Christmas. He already said, dude, Christmas is awesome. Fuck the haters.
BT Dubs is the most nothing game I've played this year. You are the elf. You are not on the shelf. You're a Christmas hero, which means every single time you hit the jump button, get ready for the sleigh bells. Collect sparkles, Magic? Apparently it's Christmas spirit. Get to the end of the level without getting hit and losing a bunch, Sonic style. This game is incredibly easy, and in a few reviews, I saw it labeled as a good game for kids. Which is crazy, because the first game I ever played was Kirby's Adventure for the NES. Who's out there giving Elf on the Shelf Christmas heroes to their kids? Shame.
Okay, he made a point there, though. Like, if you're doing this for your kids, you hate your fucking kids.
Anyways, at a certain point, you get to name your scout elf with predetermined phrases. So, here's Butter Fancy Pants. He's got a little bit of everything going on. Accidentally made him Charlie's uncle from It's Always Sunny. Level selection's done on a giant advent calendar, so you have to scurry around looking for the next number.
All right, that's actually kind of clever. Like, yeah, to do level selection on advent calendars decently, it's a clever idea.
Stages. Every level has little mini games to tackle, some of which are super difficult, actually. Ooh, barely made it. What the f? Eventually your moveset expands, you get like an air dash, but at the end of the day, it's still the freaking Elf on the Shelf video game. A video game that came out in October 2025. Why October? And nothing else will make you sick of Christmas in this video. This will.
You're really getting the hang of this.
Fantastic. We've made it to your new family's house.
As you can probably guess, this is just the tip of the licensed games iceberg. The Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause, is not just a terrible name for a movie and game, but also—
Hey, fuck you, that was a fine name for a movie.
So a generic Game Boy Advance platformer that I only remember for this. Why did Tim Allen do this? Well, it's a little better than this, at least.
Yo, fuck Elf,
Also
bro.
on
I
Game
hate
Boy.
Elf, so I hate the movie, I hate the actor, I never played the game, but I'm gonna comfortably say that I hate the fucking game too.
Advance Elf the movie. No, not one of those cards that shoved 2 low-quality episodes of Dragon Ball GT onto a small screen. I'm talking 45 minutes of terrible platforming, low-quality screen grabs of Will Ferrell and random minigames before saving Christmas. Just don't get hit by a car. Well, too late. There's a few more worth mentioning. The Polar Express's movie adaptation got itself a few games, all with super lackluster reviews. Home Alone has a few tie-ins, mostly terrible, and there's a handful of Die Hard games out there. Trilogy is fantastic, but that NES one, a little less so.
I've heard Die Hard Trilogy is actually a
there's one
very
more
fun
game I want to talk about, and it's a name I think we all know around here. I was originally going to plop this in my worst of 2025 video, but I kind of felt like it needed a little more build-up. Were you aware that in the year 2025, in the middle of September,
yeah, sure.
Game Mill Entertainment released a video game on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
What? In 2025, we got a Rankin Bass Rudolph game? Did anybody know this came out this year? Ain't no fucking way.
This isn't the first Rudolph video game. It's not even the first game based on stop-motion Rankin and base animated specials. There was a Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town game on the Wii. Santa's a pretty run-of-the-mill platformer, and that Rudolph game is notorious. And also beatable in like 15 minutes. Like actually, 15 minutes of mini games and whoop, let's go home. So, Noodolph.
Yeah, I did not see that on my 2025 bingo card, for real.
Game Mill Entertainment teamed up with Headless Chicken Games for this one, and I'm afraid people are falling for old school shovelware rocking a $40 price tag. Or a $20, because it's on sale all the time. Rudolph actually looks pretty nice. The visuals may be lacking the stop motion animation, but they look fuzzy and felty. Well, at least in the beginning. Alrighty y'all, ledge check. Yeah. Rudolph is, from what I gather, a level-based Spyro-like. You play as Rudolph when you're not fighting the camera going absolutely bonkers, gathering these gold Christmas gems and ornaments, doing little missions to help people out, and experiencing a raging case of tinnitus anytime his nose starts glowing around a collectible. Every single time. You essentially play through the film in different stages, most of which look identical if you can't tell by the footage.
Yeah, I did not realize he was on different levels. I thought that he just got footage of the first level over and over.
Chief, snow everywhere. You start out in Santa's village, make your way to the Isle of Misfit Toys, you run from the Yeti, you watch Bumble take a sharp 90 degrees angle down into the water because what is animation, and keep it going while the antlers grow, and play through what I can only describe as a sleeper shit. When you first boot up Rudolph, it doesn't seem to be that bad. It's got a little charm, the controls aren't terrible, but the more you go, the more you realize how off the level design is. You'll be scouring looking for objectives, especially in the Misfits Toys level, because you need to finish every submission and some of those toys be hiding, all while searching for collectibles that aren't properly marked on this useless map, hearing the stinging of Rudolph's nose popping off, and getting introduced to new mechanics randomly, like, hey Rudolph, check out this wall jump. What are we doing? Never mind me trying to put in an actual effort to 100% it for the hell of it, only to be greeted with a bell I literally can't pick up because it glitched out. My platinum dreams dashed away. Dashered? That is if you can even find all the collectibles. Some of them are like tucked away to the point where you might need a guide. A guide for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer 2025. You look so small on the screen and movement is hilarious because if you jump and dash at the same time, he kind of glitches forward with more momentum than usual. So I just kept spamming that. I'm moving so fast in the racing stages that the camera can barely keep up. I just, all of this together with the sharp noises, the camera going nuts.
This kind of seems amazing in the worst possible way. Yes, this came out this year.
Repetitive Christmas music and terrible voice acting. It's enough. No more.
No more.
Game Mill Entertainment's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of the worst games I played in 2025, and well, that shouldn't surprise anyone. There's a whole lot of Christmas video games out there, still tons of them coming out today apparently. Some good and weird, like Ebenezer and the Invisible World, some of which are elf-on-the-shelf Christmas heroes. But only Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer 2025 has a switch-hitting puzzle with physics so bad, you need to ground pound to maybe hit a switch that is placed mid-air.
I don't want any more bullshit anytime during the day.
And so there we have it. The ridiculous, jolly, festive world of Christmas and video games. And to all a good night. That's my bet.
Oh my god, that was amazing. Alrighty, crew. We're about to be on Gooch's show. So I'm going to set up the raid. But that was a lot of fun. Christmas games used to be the shit. And apparently nowadays, Christmas games are absolute shit. Because I was completely unaware of any of those modern ones. And they all just looked just so unfathomably bad. Alrighty, we got nearly 40 of you in here. Let's set up the fucking raid for Gooch. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the countercast. Again, this is an excellent, fun Sunday special stream. Just shooting the shit, looking at some fucking weird videos. And we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. Videos and streams every day. And at some point, we'll be streaming that Santa game on the gaming channel. But yeah, thanks to everybody that donated. Raid on over to Gooch, type in Vital Idol Raid in his chat, and I will see you guys on the next one.